got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your head. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That bell bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports. It is Wednesday, June 24th. 2-1 on the show yesterday. Kind of unfortunate because the play that I added during the show was the one loser. We got the win with the Seattle Mariners. They had to do it late, though. They were losing the game 2-1, but the bullpen was included in that handicap for a reason. I thought they had the bullpen edge. Seattle got a couple of late runs, and they won the game 3-2. So Pittsburgh's bullpen wound up failing and being the difference in that game. Seattle's bullpen was good, so that's how we got that. The under was pretty easy in Cleveland and the White Sox. I gave it out first 5. It was 1-1 at the end of 5. The full game landed 2-1, so the full game went under as well. So that was pretty easy either way. The A's first 5 did not get there, although luckily it was at an underdog price. I liked it, though. Savali wasn't bad in the game. I think he only gave up 2 runs while he was out there. So if you're going to tell me he was going to pitch decent like that, yeah, then I would have continued to like that play, probably even more. Like, I didn't expect that it would be the A's offense that wouldn't get anything done in the game. And they were down 2-1 at the end of 5. And then, they did lose the first 5. Savali did give up a number of hits there, so he kind of got lucky that he didn't allow more runs than that. So it was not the right side, but the A's not hitting really surprised me there, and they lose the game 3-1. Whatever. Going to move on to today. I don't think I'm going to do it today and add more plays on the fly here. I'm going to have 2 baseball plays. A WNBA play that looks actually quite good to me. It's got a lot of angles to it. And then I'm going to give out a World Cup play that is different than what I've been doing because we have motivation coming into play here. There's 6 World Cup matches today. McAdoo, what's up? Yeah, some people might call me the Undertaker. I do take overs too, but probably more unders than overs. It's just the way that it is. But the public doesn't like unders. They mostly play overs. So if you are contrarian like I am and you fade the public more often than you don't, then yeah, you wind up on slightly more underdogs and slightly more unders than favorites and overs. Kyle, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Let's get into this, man. There's a lot of baseball. There's a doubleheader in here, too, because of all the rainouts happening. Basically all of them in Cubs games. Texas and Miami is the first game up. We have afternoon baseball here, so the afternoon games, you know that means this is the end of these series, and these teams are going to be traveling. Texas or some of them might be traveling, at least. Texas and Miami have split the first 2 games of the series here. So whoever wins this wins the series. So usually that's going to motivate both teams. Miami won yesterday, I believe. They used 3 relief pitchers. Texas used 2. Both bullpens are pretty good here. Miami, number 4. Texas, number 8. I arranged that by whip. So they're both pretty trustworthy bullpens, though Texas has been a little bit worse recently. Neither offense is particularly good. Miami 19th, Texas 21st in OPS. I have too many tabs up right now because I have another tab up so I can check who is this team playing next, looking at Friday when all the teams are in full series here. Yes, Miami won the game yesterday, so this is a split series right now. Jacob deGrom pitching for Texas. Not happy with him right now because we lost an under in his last game, but he's been generally good. 3.59 ERA, 1.03 whip. I mean, we know he's been a really good pitcher throughout his career. He's still pitching well at an old age. Not as good on the road, though. 4.83 road ERA, so he is taking advantage of Texas's very pitcher-friendly ballpark. But this might be a decent matchup for him because Miami is also pitcher-friendly. They're not a terrific offense. DeGrom, I know it's kind of a red flag. They gave up 6 runs against San Diego at home last time out. If you allow runs to San Diego wherever you are, that's not a good sign. But he gave up 6 runs on 6 hits. I mean, 3 walks wasn't that great, but I think he got a little bit unlucky. He had 9 strikeouts in that outing, so his command was still there. His numbers still look good to me recently and overall. He's got a high strikeout rate, low hit rate, low walk rate. Like, everything looks good here. So I think that was a little bit of an outlier. Miami somehow only has 7 at-bats against him. Only 2 of their hitters have ever faced him. And the more hilarious thing about this is the only hit that they have off of him is Sandy Alcantara, the pitcher who pitched yesterday. Do you think he's going to be in the lineup? They should put him in, man. He's got the only hit. He has a double, an RBI double against DeGrom. Put him in. No. So basically, Miami has never seen him before. Ruiz, Esteury Ruiz, Estuary? Interesting. He's over 3 off him with 3 strikeouts. So that's the only actual hitter. That's his numbers against DeGrom here. So I think DeGrom does match up pretty well here against a team that hasn't even seen him before pretty much. I think he should pitch well. Yuri Perez is pitching from Miami. He's coming back from the injured list here. He was pitching better than his ERA, makes it look. 4.6 ERA, not very good, but 1.26 whip. I mean, I know that's not excellent, but it does indicate his ERA probably should be a bit lower than that. He's a talented pitcher. He's still pretty young, just he walks too many guys. He's been good at home, though, 3.41 ERA. You know, I talk about when pitchers come back off the injured list. Usually I talk about veteran pitchers, though. A lot of times they're ready to go. They're pumped up. Like, I think they actually get undervalued in that return spot because people are kind of hesitant to want to play them. I hear differing opinions on this from professionals, but I think the team kind of somewhat rallies around that pitcher, and that pitcher tends to have a better game, in my opinion. Like, I don't know if we have actual stats on this, though, but I'm trying to read everybody's mind and behavior here. Perez was pitching well in his last couple of outings before he went down. He had a shortened start against Toronto where he was shutting them out with a lot of strikeouts, and then he went down. I know those 2 starts were against the Mets and Toronto. Those are not good offenses, but Texas is not exactly an elite offense here, even though they are better on the road than they are at home. The one really good thing for Perez is that he had no walks in those last 2 outings, so his command was really good in those 2 starts. He's allowed a low amount of hits on the season. His walk rate is too high, though. Like I said, his strikeout rate is also high. I like him. I think he's good. I think he's better than his ERA suggests. He's still young, so I think his career could still kind of take off a little bit. Texas, though, they have been able to hit him in 21 at-bats. They have a 286 average and 824 OPS, although he has 12 strikeouts and 2 walks against them, so he has not had walk issues against them, and he has struck out a lot of them. If you dig into this a little bit, really it's just Nimmo, 3 for 5 with a home run. Not a whole lot of damage otherwise here. So I think this game looks like an under to me. That's the way I would lean here. I don't love Perez's numbers here. I'm not sure if I fully trust him with his command issues, whatever. I know you also have the bad road numbers for DeGrom here, but the money seems to agree with me on this. The market also, the total's at 7.5, so the odds makers are telling you this should be a low-scoring game. We have 56% of the tickets, 95% of the cash on the under. If I was going to play the game, I think under makes the most sense in that one. The money is also backing Miami, by the way, as a home dog there. Texas minus 120-something. I think the feel is probably that you're paying a little bit of a price for DeGrom because everybody knows the name. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, whatever. Texas may be the better team, but Perez is good enough that he might be able to hold Miami in this game, so maybe getting them at an underdog price. There is some value there. 66% of the tickets on Texas, 92% of the cash on Miami. And with an underdog, as I always say, there's a little bit more value if you expect it to be a low-scoring game. So I think the under makes more sense than anything else in that game, though. Gerald, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right, next game up, I'm going to talk about both games of this doubleheader here, Cubs and the Mets. This series, I think, is actually continuing tomorrow, too. So I think this is a 4-game series where they had the first game postponed on Monday, I guess is what that was. Yesterday they played, and the Cubs won 9-6. But now they're playing a doubleheader to make sure they get that game played, and they're going to play tomorrow, too. This is just kind of crazy here, and the Cubs have not decided on a starting pitcher in either game here, which makes this really difficult to figure out. And we know that with doubleheaders, there are some rules where, like, Major League Baseball allows you to call guys up for, like, one day in the event of a doubleheader. So the Cubs might be calling somebody up from AAA because they just have way too many injuries here, man. Boyd, Horton, like, their starting rotation is decimated. I think Tyon is injured now, too. So we have no idea who's pitching for the Cubs. In Game 1, Nolan McLean is going for the Mets here. We can look at the bullpen usage from yesterday. The Cubs used 4 guys out of the bullpen. The Mets, no, not the Yankees, the Mets. The Mets also used 4. We do have 2 reasonably good bullpens here. Mets, number 2, and pretty good ERA-wise, too. Cubs are number 11 right now. They haven't been as good recently, but they're still a decent bullpen. Offensively, the Cubs do have a big advantage, though. Number 6 in offense. Mets, number 29. But the bullpens are probably going to get used in Game 1, so that's another thing. When you look at Game 2, you have to kind of consider, well, these bullpens are probably going to get used. So if you're trying to handicap this in the morning, like, generally, I kind of tend to lean towards overs in Game 2s of doubleheaders just because I expect the bullpens to be used up by then. Maybe that won't be the case here, but it does look like the Cubs are going to be the team that has more bullpen usage in this first game because we don't even know what they're doing. And Nolan McLean is pitching for the Mets, and he's young, but I think he's their best starter. He's got a 3.67 ERA, 1.09 whip, 4.46 home ERA, though, so he has not been as good at home. But his overall numbers still look pretty good. Like, I think that's kind of a misleadingly high ERA. Pitched really well in Cincinnati his last time out. Wasn't really that good in his last home start. It was against Atlanta. They're pretty good offensively, especially on the road. McLean overall, though, he's got a really low hit rate. Like, he's been pretty much unhittable. His walk rate has gotten too high, though, so that's kind of the main concern with him at this point. And his strikeout rate is good. His walk number went back down in his most recent start, though, so he seems like his command is coming back a bit after he had a stretch where he did walk too many guys for a few starts in a row. I think McLean has the upper hand here, though. He does have some experience against the Cubs, and the numbers are kind of all over the place. 18 at-bats, not a huge sample. 222 average allowed is low. 1,078 OPS is concerning, but it's basically all damage from Suzuki, who's 2 for 3 with 2 home runs. And yes, Swanson does have a home run off him too, but it looks a little bit fluky to me. We have 9 strikeouts in here too, 2 walks. I'm not going to weigh those home runs too heavily here. I think McLean has the advantage against whoever is pitching for the Cubs. I have no idea what the Cubs are doing. And Edward Cabrera got hurt yesterday, too. He started yesterday, so this Cubs rotation is completely decimated. I don't think they've announced a starter yet here, so no idea what's going on with them. This is the extra game now because this is considered to be the makeup game, I think. The Mets are actually an underdog in this game, it looks like. So, I mean, if you want to take a blind shot at it and play the Mets, have at it, I guess. I wouldn't really disagree. Getting McLean against a very unpredictable pitching matchup here, I think you could kind of predict that McLean should do well here, and the Mets bullpen is all right. So, yeah, I mean, probably would lean to the Mets in that one. And then Game 2, we also have no idea who's pitching for the Cubs. So, again, we have no idea what they're doing. The Mets are going to go with Sean Manaea. I would be more leery of this because we know that they've used an opener in front of Manaea a decent amount this season, so they might do that again here. So, you're probably going to get Manaea for 4 or 5 innings here, whatever, but they may put an opener in front of him. So, just be aware of that if you pick starting pitcher must start, You shouldn't really do that with the Mets in this game too here, because you can handicap this knowing that Manaea is going to pitch, but he may not actually start. He hasn't been that good. 4.64 ERA, 1.34 whip, 4.94 ERA at home, not particularly good either. He has started making starts, though, and he's actually been better recently. Like, his starts this month have all been pretty good. He's got a pretty low hit rate here, 18-3 strikeout walk ratio this month in 20 and third innings with those 15 hits allowed. Hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of these outings. He's got at least 5 innings in 3 out of the 4, so he is actually pitching better right now. Maybe he's excited to be back in the starting rotation, whatever it is. His overall numbers here really don't look that bad. His strikeout rate is pretty good. Hit rate a little bit too high. Walk rate not too bad. So I think Manaea is better than his numbers suggest. And he's had like a decent career, at least. Usually his walk numbers are a problem, but that hasn't really been a problem recently. And he actually does have decent numbers against the Cubs in 119 at-bats, 210 batting average, 681 OPS, 23-10 strikeout walk ratio is not good. Like I said, he does have walk issues throughout his career. But right now, he looks like he's kind of in form. I mean, I don't know what the Cubs are doing in this one, but the Mets might actually have the upper hand in this game, too. There's no line on this game yet either, so you can't even bet it right now, it looks like, which kind of surprises me. Usually the books will throw a number out there on that. The Cubs are probably going to be favored. I mean, if the Cubs are favored against Nolan McLean, the Cubs are definitely going to be favored against Sean Manaea, but the Mets might be the way to look in both of those games, to be honest. It looks like their pitching lines up decently here, although I would trust McLean more than Manaea, though, so I think the Mets are a stronger play, getting them at that underdog price in game 1, you know. So that's the way I would look there. I think both teams will show up because the series has only had 1 game finished so far. Next game up is going to be a play for me, Cleveland and Chicago. I've had a play in every one of the games in the series so far. We lost with Cleveland in game 1, hit with the first 5 under yesterday. This game, I'm gonna go back to Cleveland here. This is going to be my play. Cleveland on the money line, minus 112. You can find the price somewhere in that range. I know I don't like Cleveland's offense, I know, but I focus more on pitching than offense just because I think pitching has more of an effect on what the hitting does. Cleveland is an okay bullpen. They're number 14. White Sox are number 20, so I think Cleveland does still have the better bullpen here, so I'm leaving them in this equation here. Plus, I think they're going to be motivated to get this thing done because they're trying to avoid a sweep here. The White Sox have won both games. Cleveland blew it for us in the 9th inning of the first game. Cleveland, they've been competitive in the series, though. They've lost both games by 1 run. So I know they didn't get it done in what I thought was a bad spot for the White Sox returning home. Cleveland had to get some late runs to take the lead, but then once they were winning in the 9th inning, they should have finished it off. They didn't. They blew it in the 9th inning. But Cleveland should be heavily motivated here to avoid the sweep here. The White Sox are probably feeling pretty good that now they've flipped the standings back by beating Cleveland twice. The White Sox are now back in first place. Cleveland probably wants to say something about that here. It's not going to be a look ahead for the White Sox because I believe they're playing Kansas City next, so they're not going to look ahead to that really. But I still think the motivation is going to be on the Cleveland side to try to avoid the sweep here, and the White Sox might take them a little more lightly. As far as the bullpens, Cleveland only used 1 guy for 6 pitches. So Cleveland's bullpen is fully available here today. So that should be an advantage to them as well. Whereas the White Sox only used 1 guy as well, my man, Sean Newcomb. But I still think Cleveland has the bullpen advantage here. Hitting-wise, yeah, the White Sox obviously have the better hitting. The White Sox are, where are they at now? They've fallen off a little bit, I thought. I'm looking at pitching. I'm like, I don't even see them here. The White Sox are 13th in offense right now, tied with the Brewers. So still good, but maybe they were a little bit overrated with the way they were hitting earlier in the season. Yes, I know Cleveland has a very weak offense, number 28. They got some pretty significant injuries here. But I think we can get this done, man. We're going to back Tanner Bibee here. He's the better pitcher out of the 2 pitchers. He's got a 4.03 ERA, 1.18 whip. Those are not bad numbers. His record makes him look a lot worse than he is because I know he doesn't get run support, and we do have to worry about that. But I think Cleveland can get enough runs here off of the pitching they're going to face here. I know Bibee is not as good on the road. I know 4.62 road ERA. He's been pitching reasonably well, though, over his last few starts, like 4 starts in a row that have been reasonably good, 3 or fewer earned runs allowed in all 4 of them. Yeah, he's just been all right overall, but he's also allowed only 9 hits this month in 20 to 3rd innings, so he's been basically unhittable this month, which that's good, although he's walked a few too many guys. But his strikeout rate's been decent. He's been pitching better recently. His strikeout rate's not that good on the season. Usually you do expect him to be a little bit better in that department, but he's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is not too bad. He's allowed too many home runs, so that is a little bit of an issue here. But I'm going to suck it up here because I think he could pitch well in this game. He has good numbers against the White Sox in 38 at-bats. They have 6 hitters who have faced him, and they have not done well against him. Only 1 extra base hit, which is a double from Grichuk. 10 strikeouts, 4 walks. Yeah, I mean, I know that's too many walks still, but he's held him to a 158 average and 422 OPS. So these White Sox hitters, they do not have good offensive numbers against Bibee. So I think Bibee should pitch pretty well here. And we're going to fade Eric Fedde here, which not the first time I've done that on this show, to put it mildly. Fedde, he's not very good. 4.46 ERA, 1.39 whip. He is better at home. I'll give you that. 3.29 home ERA. Still not totally buying it, though. I mean, his numbers look pretty mediocre, really, at home. He's failed to make it 5 innings in his last 2 starts. I know one was against the Dodgers, and they took him out early. I don't know what the deal was there, but he wasn't very good last time out against Detroit either. Didn't really last that long. Threw too many pitches. Overall numbers here, really low strikeout rate. Hit rate is slightly high. Walk rate is too high as well. Home run rate is also basically, it's actually worse than Bibee's. So you want to talk about home runs, yeah, I think Fedde loses in that department too. So even though he didn't allow any in those last 2 short outings that he had, but he also doesn't do well against Cleveland. And this is Cleveland's offense without Jose Ramirez, without those guys that are injured. They still have 70 at-bats against him, and they have a 300 average, 902 OPS against him, 8-7 strikeout walk ratio. Hoskins, Kwan, and Schneemann all have really good numbers against him. So I'm going to roll with it. Cleveland, I think, should be able to put up some runs here. I think they should be able to win this game. That's what I'm going to go with. They're favored for a reason. Like, you got to think the public is going to be looking at these lines, and I know Cleveland's lost the first 2 games of the series here, and they've been favored, I think, both times, but you got to think that the public is going to play the White Sox here, although we have 61% of the tickets on Cleveland here, but the money is agreeing with me on Cleveland with 93% of the cash on them at around this pick'em price basically here. But again, you got to think the public's reaction to this is the White Sox have won both games in the series. The public also loves the better offense, which is the White Sox. They got to be thinking, how is Cleveland a road favorite here, right? But of course, there's a reason for it. And even just, if you know anything about baseball, I mean, on the surface, you know Cleveland has the better starting pitcher here. So that's what we're going to go with. Cleveland is my first play here. Yeah, Fetty Wap, yeah. Trey, what's up? Garrett, what's up? Yes, thank you. Seattle, a little bit lucky maybe on that one, but the bullpens were part of that handicap. You live bet Atlanta, and then, yeah, they lost in extra innings. I don't know what that was. Carrasco, is that Carlos Carrasco? Is he still in Major League Baseball? I remember when that guy was a starter. Is that who you're talking about? Speaking of Cleveland, because I think he was on Cleveland for quite a while. I don't know if that's who you mean or not. I have no idea. I'm surprised he's even still in the league, actually, if that's who you're talking about. He's always been like a junk pitcher who, if he's still around at all, I would think he's just a long relief guy. All right, Red Sox and Colorado. These teams have split the series so far. This is the end of the series. The Red Sox won yesterday. Sonny Gray was really good in the game yesterday. Double-digit strikeouts. Really excellent start from him. The Red Sox won the game. Red Sox should have won the first game because they were winning the entire game until the bottom of the ninth when Chapman didn't get it done and Duran made a stupid fielding blunder out there. Still a huge Duran fan, though. I'm blaming the Red Sox fan base for that. Red Sox should win. I mean, they're favored here, but I do have concerns here One big concern is they're playing the Yankees next. The Yankees are coming back to Fenway. And I'm going to complain about that over the weekend probably. But the Red Sox may be looking ahead to that. My complaint is that the rivalry just doesn't exist anymore on the Red Sox side. Like, we used to be, like if you were a New York fan coming to Boston, it used to be like, you're going to enter a hostile environment here, man. You're going to get heckled. You're going to get shouted down, out of the city, whatever. But now it's completely different. It's like, no, we have to be polite. And the Red Sox store is selling Yankees merchandise. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? It's such bullshit, dude. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, when I was in high school and whatever, it was, no, we're going to buy a Yankees suck t-shirt. We're going to buy a Posada's a little bitch t-shirt. We're going to give the Yankees fans, give the Yankees total hell. I don't know, dude, those days are completely gone. We need to bring that shit back. Everybody loves a rivalry. Everybody loves intensity. That might help the Red Sox play better because they're kind of the underdog, just forever against the Yankees, even though the Red Sox have won more World Series than the Yankees have in the last couple decades. I'll boast about it, but the Red Sox suck ass right now. This game, I mean, the Red Sox do have some advantages, of course. They do have a better bullpen. They're ranked number 3 in bullpen, and it did not help them in game 1, which was bullshit. The Rockies do not have a good bullpen. Number 27, one of the worst bullpen ERAs, I believe second worst. Not good. Red Sox offense, though, is not good. Number 26, and they haven't really broken out in this series either. Both games in this series have gone way under the total. Coors Field, you're getting these enormous Coors Field totals, and I'm like, dude, like, I don't know, man. Like, these games kind of have read as under games to me, and today's actually does too, I think. Even though it's a day game, so that might help overs a little bit more. Rockies have had the better offense. They're number 8, although I don't think they're that good. As one of you guys pointed out yesterday, I think it might have been Trey, they do have a few just major outlier offensive games. They actually haven't been that good at home this year compared to what they usually do at home. Ronier Suarez is pitching for the Red Sox. He's had a good season, 2.93 ERA, 1.12 whip. Suarez and Gray, dude, like, I liked those offseason moves. They've both been good this season. It's just the Red Sox offense has been so pathetic that their pitching hasn't been good. Like, their pitching has been really good. Their hitting has been so bad, they're still losing every game. Suarez has been good on the road, 2.21 road ERA. Of course, you have to worry about him pitching in Coors Field. He did pitch here most recently early last season, and he shut Colorado out for 6 2/3 innings in that game. So he pitched well in Coors Field there, although he walked 3 guys. But still, 6 strikeouts, 6 hits in a 6 2/3 inning shutout. So he has the ability to pitch well in Coors Field. He's been pretty good recently. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all 3 starts this month. 18-5 strikeout walk ratio over that span. Decent strikeout rate on the season. Low hit rate. Walk rate maybe slightly high, but overall good stuff here. 2.93 ERA, 1.12 whip. I forget if I even said what those numbers were or not. Numbers against Colorado also were good. In 34 at-bats, 206 average allowed, 535 OPS, 11-3 strikeout walk ratio. So Suarez does look like he matches up pretty well here. He's not an extreme fly ball pitcher either. Well, actually, he's more so than I thought. He does allow some fly balls here, but he's only allowed 4 home runs this season, and 2 of them were in his opener. So he's literally only allowed 2 home runs from April onward. So he has not really had issues with home runs. So he should be able to pitch well here. Has good matchup numbers. Looked good last time he was in Colorado. Kyle Freeland is pitching for the Rockies. Not good. 7.36 ERA, 1.58 whip. Somehow he's been better at home. Makes no sense to me, but 6.32 home ERA, pitching better in Coors Field, even though he is an extreme fly ball pitcher, more than Suarez is, and he's allowed way more home runs than Suarez has this season. His hit rate is way higher. Horrible hit rate. Walk rate is okay. Strikeout rate is okay, but this guy just gets tagged, dude. He allows a lot of hits. Somehow he pitched well at home last time out against Pittsburgh. That's a good sign that he is pitching well now, but that was 1 start. So, like, what do you do with that information? I have no idea, because generally he has not been good although it's impressive that he did that. He has good numbers against the Red Sox, though, which, that I don't like seeing that. This Red Sox offense, what are you doing, man? Wilson Contreras, newcomer to the Red Sox, is 0 for 11 off of this guy. I don't even know how that's possible. The Red Sox have 26 at-bats against him. 1 extra base hit, which is a home run from Monasterio. 9 strikeouts, 4 walks, 115 average, 489 OPS. Not good Red Sox offensive numbers here. So this does look like another under type of game here. I think I just went off the page that I wanted to be on. What the hell, dude? What did I just do? What the fuck? I don't know what I just did. All right, I think I'm back. Whatever. I think a first 5 under might be the way to look at this game. Both games have gone under the total. The odds makers are like, yeah, whatever. We're putting up an 11 on this game. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think I see it getting there. The money is backing the over, though. 84% of tickets, 79% of the cash on the under. I don't see it. I don't get it. I think a first 5 under makes the most sense. I would avoid the Rockies bullpen, but the Red Sox offense doesn't really seem like that much of a threat, man. The Red Sox are favored pretty heavily here at minus 160 something, minus 170. 86% of tickets, 88% of the cash on the Red Sox. They should win, but I would not put money on the Red Sox here. I obviously have my concerns here, even though they do have a bullpen advantage. You got to think they do generally have the better starting pitcher here, too. They are the better team, as the odds makers are telling you. But, the Rockies always are just... I think they're just always kind of undervalued in the market, too, though. But, yeah, I think a first 5 under makes the most sense. Yeah, the Red Sox official team store sells Yankees merchandise now, which is the most bullshit thing that I've ever seen. Yes, you mean Carrasco? Yeah. Walt Weiss pulling a Grady Little, I guess. I don't know. Freeland, hard contact, yes. Yeah, 11 runs. It's Coors Field in a day game, so I thought it would be more like around a 10, really, with this pitching matchup. So 11 does seem high to me, but I mean, it's Coors Field, so you're rarely going to get a number that's below 10 in Coors Field, even though I think game 1 of this series was at 9.5, though, which was Bennett against Feltner, I think, who is kind of the Rockies' best pitcher, I guess, best. But I don't know. I was kind of surprised that total was that low, really, but it still felt like an under. That game did go way, way under the total, so... whatever. Baltimore and Anaheim. These teams have split this series so far. Anaheim won yesterday. This is the end of this series, I believe. Both teams probably show up motivated, at least to try to get this thing done. Baltimore only used 1 relief pitcher yesterday. Anaheim used 4. Anaheim is definitely at a bullpen disadvantage here. Anaheim not good, 26th in bullpen. Orioles are 16th, although their bullpen ERA is still not good, but the Orioles have the better bullpen still and the more rested bullpen here, so they have a bullpen edge. The offenses are close. Orioles 15, Angels 16. This pitching matchup, though, I don't know if it really looks good for either team here. Trey Gibson for Baltimore still doesn't even have a mugshot here on ESPN yet. He has not been good. He's young, so maybe he's going to become something, but not so far. 5.81 ERA, 1.71 whip. This is really bad stuff. I think he's pitched, he pitched in the minors for a while, obviously, and he wasn't good in the minors either, I don't think. So I don't know what the deal is with him. He's a little bit better on the road. 5.59 road ERA, still bad. His walk number has been ridiculous, and I don't mean in a good way. 9 walks over his last 9 1/3 innings here against San Diego, really bad. And against the Dodgers, maybe you give him a pass for that, but his walk numbers have been atrocious. 4 walks or more in 3 of his last 4 outings. This is some really bad stuff here. His strikeout rate is actually pretty low on the season, too. Hit rate is high. His walk rate is incredibly high. There's not a lot to like here, man, although he is unfamiliar to the Angels, so he does have that advantage, but that hasn't helped him at all, so I don't expect him to pitch well here. just too much negative all around those numbers. Jose Soriano pitching for the Angels. He's been good this year, 3.03 ERA. 1.27 whip is starting to get a little high, though, indicating his ERA should be probably higher than it is. He pitched really well early in the season, but he's definitely regressed quite a bit, and he's known as not being as good at home. He was actually pretty bad at home last year with the Angels. This year, he's been not as bad, 3.25 home ERA, but still he is better on the road than he is at home, so he's in the worst of his home road splits here. He's been walking too many guys this month, 20 to 15 strikeout walk ratio in 20 and 2/3 innings. That is not good. Way too many walks here. So he is not pitching well. Maybe you give him a pass because he pitched in the A's stadium most recently. I gave a winner out on the show with the over in that game. But still, I don't trust Soriano. His walk number is really high. He's been unhittable, so that's good. I mean, his hit rate is really low. His strikeout rate is good, too. These walks are just crazy, though. Like, he's just walking everybody. It's a huge problem. And Baltimore has had okay offensive numbers against him. Only 6 of their hitters have faced him, 18 at-bats, 278 average, 816 OPS, 4-1 strikeout walk ratio. So the Baltimore offense does have a slight edge against Soriano here. I think this game looks like an over. That's probably what I would do here. We have 68% of the tickets and 65% of the cash on the under. No idea what's going on with that. There's no way the public is playing an under in this game. No way. But the total's fairly high, 9.5. It's high for a reason. Both bullpens are pretty fadeable here, too. I think both starters might struggle a little bit here, so I think the over is the approach here. Anaheim is getting the money, 57% of tickets, 78% of the cash on Anaheim at around minus 120-something here. I would say Anaheim first 5 innings does make some sense. I still think Soriano has the advantage over Gibson at the very least because Gibson has just been absolutely awful. So Soriano is at least the proven pitcher here. I would not factor in the Anaheim bullpen, though, into that. So Anaheim first 5 makes some sense for a side there, but I like the over in that game. Yes, under 10, pitching duel in Coors Field. Soriano, I don't know. I mean, I just countered that by telling you how bad his walk numbers are. And I think his ERA should be higher than it is. Like, his whip kind of indicates his ERA is more of like a high 3s ERA. Kansas City, which is still not bad. He's not a bad pitcher, but I don't think he's great either. Kansas City at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay on the verge of potentially getting swept here. We're in the evening, though, so I think that means this series is actually continuing tomorrow. It is. So this is a 4-game series, but Tampa Bay has lost the first 2 games of the series to the Royals. The Royals, who cannot hit at all on the road this year, put up 12 runs in yesterday's game. I don't know what to tell you about that. I don't know what that was. I don't remember who was pitching for Tampa Bay in that game. I don't know what happened there. Was it Shane? I think it was Shane McClanahan, right? That was pretty disgusting if that's what it was. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about who pitched in that game. I can't remember anything anymore. Anyway, both bullpens here are bad. Tampa Bay only used 1 guy out of the bullpen yesterday, so they did kind of save their bullpen. Kansas City used 4 guys out of the bullpen, so Tampa Bay does have a little bit of a bullpen edge here, but their bullpen isn't good. They're number 18, but their ERA is worse than that, so I don't like that bullpen. Kansas City is 29 out of 30, though. Really bad. So I don't trust either bullpen here. Tampa's probably slightly better and a little bit more rested. Tampa's number 18 in offense. Kansas City 17. So we've had mediocre offenses here. Kansas City, not, like I said, they're not good on the road, though. I think Tampa Bay is the better offense here. But Kansas City might have another pitching advantage here because they have Noah Cameron pitching. And I don't want to say he's established, but he's put together like more than a season of like good pitching now at this point. He's been, I think, better than his ERA makes him look right now. 4.2 ERA, 1.27 whip. That whip is a little bit high, but Cameron's been pretty good overall. 3.71 road ERA, which is pretty good. He's been pitching better mostly as of late. He's allowed more than 3 earned runs only once going all the way back through the beginning of May. His hit rate is still a little bit too high. His walk rate is pretty low. Strikeout rate is okay. He's not a huge strikeout pitcher, but I think he can deliver again here. Tampa Bay is 0 for 13 against him. So Tampa Bay, not a ton of experience against him, but hasn't had success. 6 hitters have faced him. 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, so not a lot of strikeouts there, but they have not hit him at all, literally. So 0 batting average, 133 OPS against him. So Cameron does appear to have a good matchup here. Tampa Bay is going with Griffin Jax, who I don't really trust him. I don't think he's that good. He's a converted reliever, but he's actually been pitching reasonably well in this role here where he's like the back end of the rotation starter at this point. 3.67 ERA, 1.31 whip. Not good at home, though, 4.57 ERA, and that whip is still a bit high, indicates that his ERA should be higher than it is. He's been good in his last 3 starts, though. He's only allowed 2 runs in his last 15 innings of work, 2 earned runs, 1 unearned there. Has no walks over his last 2 starts, too, so he's actually pitching pretty well right now, and his command looks pretty good right now, too. Fairly low hit rate here. Walk rate, not horrible, really, a little bit high, and strikeout rate is decent as well. So I don't know. I mean, Jax has gotten the job done at least, and Kansas City has not done well against him. In 41 at-bats, 171 average, 472 OPS, 8.6 strikeout walk ratio is not good, but 5 of the walks are Witt. So he's only going to face Witt so many times here. You're probably going to only get about 4 or 5 innings out of Jax, though. I mean, he's been going about 5 every outing, so that might be what you get out of him. But this does look like kind of a first 5 inning under here. The total's low in the full game at 7.5, so the odds makers are telling you they think this is going to be a pitching duel type of game. I don't trust the bullpens at all, though. 74% of tickets, 78% of the cash on the over. I would play first 5 under in that game if I was going to do anything with it. I don't know how close I was to considering that a play, but I don't know. Maybe it's worth considering. I still don't really fully trust either pitcher, though, really. I like Cameron better than Jax, though. But the money is backing the Rays at minus 140-something here. 72% of tickets, 94% of the cash on Tampa. It makes sense in a way because they're generally the better team here, and they're trying to not get swept here after losing the first 2 games of the series, even though, yes, they do play again tomorrow. But I think in the pitching matchup, I think I do prefer Kansas City slightly. Getting them at an underdog price like that, probably less of an underdog in the first 5, though, because the odds makers know that the biggest edge Kansas City has in this game is Noah Cameron. So you're probably getting a smaller underdog price there, but probably still an underdog in the first 5. So maybe that is something to consider there. I would slightly lean that way, Kansas City first 5, but I think first 5 under makes more sense. McClanahan's had a really good career. I don't know what you're talking about. Like his numbers throughout his entire career have been really good, actually. All right. Yankees at Detroit on Prime Video. Amazon Prime. Detroit won the first game of the series and then lost yesterday in a 1-run game, losing a 4-game win streak there. Could possibly hang them over here. Yankees play the Red Sox next. As I said, I don't know if the Yankees are going to be looking ahead to that or not. Both teams, I think, are... no, that starts tomorrow, actually. So the Yankees and Red Sox start on Thursday. It's a weekend series. It must be a 4-game series. I don't know, man. But anyway, yeah, possible look ahead for the Yankees, although maybe not because the Red Sox are completely in the cellar here. Yankees might still try to win this series here. Yankees used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Detroit also used 3. Yankees have a slight bullpen edge here. They are where are they at? Number 7 in bullpen. Now, their bullpen ERA is pretty good, actually. So they're a pretty good bullpen. Detroit's ERA is not too bad in the bullpen. They're ranked 17th. Yankees slight advantage there, but both bullpens are all right. Yankees number 2 in offense. They have a bigger edge there. Detroit number 20. So Yankees obviously have the better offense, but Detroit obviously has a starting pitching edge here, and that's why Detroit is favored as heavily as they are here. Like you're never going to get the Yankees as an underdog like this. Does that mean you should play the Yankees? Probably not, but there might be some value just because you're never going to get the Yankees at an underdog price like this. However, I would counter that by saying that the public might think that too. The public might be like, how are we getting the Yankees at this big of an underdog price? But the odds makers are obviously telling you they think Detroit is expected to win this game. But then again, the public is going to probably know that it's because Skubal is pitching for Detroit here. That's the entire reason why they're favored. And because the Yankees do not have one of their better starters going. Ryan Weathers is pitching. He's not horrible, though. 4.13 ERA, 1.13 whip is not bad at all. He's not as good on the road, though. 5.33 road ERA, so that's not great. Did pitch really well in his last start at home against the White Sox, but his couple of starts before that were not as good. He had 3 bad starts in a row before that, so the question is he coming back into form here or not? His prior start was against the Blue Jays, and then the Red Sox got to him too, and those are not good offenses. So I don't know, man. But he pitched against a better offense and dominated them last time out. So Weathers is a little bit of a roller coaster. He does have a high strikeout rate on the season and a low hit rate and a pretty low walk rate too. So his numbers across the board are pretty good, although he's been a little bit home run conducive. And that's really kind of been the main issue, actually. That's kind of the reason why he's allowing so many runs is the home runs, because the rest of his numbers actually look pretty good. So I actually think he's better than people think. Detroit has not had success against him. They only have 1 hit against him in 14 at-bats, which is a single from McKinstry. They have 6 hitters who have faced him, 5 strikeouts, no walks, 0.71 average, 143 OPS. Weathers could pitch well here, man. He's got good matchup numbers. Skubal is pitching for Detroit, obviously, like I said. We know that he's good. 3.02 ERA is high for his ERA. 1.02 whip is still quite good, though. He's been a little bit worse at home this year, 3.93 home ERA, but we know he missed a decent amount of time with injury. He was out for the entire month of May and then the first half of June. He just came back. Seems to be coming back into form a little bit. He was pretty good in his last outing against the White Sox. Still kind of inefficient with his pitches, though, but his strikeout stuff was definitely there. So he looks like he's on his way back. He's got good numbers on the season for the most part. His hit rate is a little bit higher than you'd actually expect out of him, although it's not high. High-ish strikeout rate and a very low walk rate. Against the Yankees, Skubal has been good in his career. 60 at-bats, 17 strikeouts, 3 walks, 167 average, 473 OPS. So to me, this looks like a pitching duel as well here. I think an under makes the most sense in this game. And, I don't know about the Yankees maybe as an underdog here. Skubal is still the better pitcher, though, and Skubal is getting the money. 52% of the tickets are on the Yankees, 69% of the cash on Detroit. Detroit at around minus 140 something here. If I was going to play Detroit, I would isolate the first 5, though. I would not want to rely on their bullpen because I think they're at a disadvantage there. So I think first 5, laying a half run with Detroit might make some sense here, but that would scare me a little bit. The Yankees could beat that potentially. I think the under is probably the better look here, but you're looking at a 7 probably. It's 7.5 heavily juiced to the under across the board here. If you can find a 7.5, actually even up to minus 125 on the under 7.5, maybe worth it here. 52% of tickets on the over, 51% of the cash on the over, so the money slightly indicating towards an under. But yeah, this looks like an under game to me. So that's what I think I would do. Probably full game. I mean, both bullpens are all right, at least. Or Yankees, I think, is actually a good bullpen. So I think under makes the most sense there. I mean, I kind of considered putting that on my card. I don't know, man. I'm trying to use intuition here to figure out what I actually want to put on my card. Next game up looked like it was going to be an under for me, Seattle and Pittsburgh. And then I started digging into these numbers, and I'm like, maybe not. Also, Pittsburgh does hit really well at home. We did beat them yesterday, though. We got the win with Seattle yesterday. It was a bad spot for Pittsburgh. We needed the bullpens to get us the win there, which they did for Seattle. 3-2 win. Pirates could be in a bounce-back spot here because, I talk about when a team returns home from the road, it's a negative spot, but then in the next game, a lot of times they bounce back. So it could be a bounce-back spot for Pittsburgh here. Pittsburgh used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Their bullpen is still at a disadvantage. Seattle used 3 as well and used some of their better relievers because it was a close game. But Pittsburgh used some of their better relievers too, I think, because the game shifted late in the game. Seattle is the number 15 bullpen based on whip, but their ERA is way better than that. I think they're like a top 10 bullpen, even though I do think whip is a better indicator, but I like Seattle's bullpen. I don't like Pittsburgh's bullpen. They're number 22. Seattle's got the better bullpen. Pittsburgh has the better offense at number 5. Seattle's offense has been struggling. They're at 24th. They do have some injuries. They've had some guys come back, some guys go down. So this is not a full Seattle lineup here. Brian Wu is pitching for Seattle, and I do like him, but this might not be an ideal matchup for him. He's got a 3.94 ERA, which I think is misleadingly high, actually, because his whip is 1. So I think he's better than that ERA suggests. But he's been pretty bad on the road, 5.93 road ERA, which based on his road numbers, that does seem a little bit misleadingly high, but he is still way better at home than on the road. So this doesn't look great for him here. He's in the bad of his home road splits here against a good home offense. Wu was really good in his last outing, a nice bounce back from him after a couple of bad starts. He dominated Baltimore in his last outing. Second straight start against Baltimore, but that was at home. Now he's going out on the road. And I do like Wu generally. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate. His strikeout rate is fairly good as well. But this does not look like a good matchup for him. Bad for the home road splits. And Pittsburgh has hit him in 24 career at-bats, 292 average, 763 OPS, 8-2 strikeout walk ratio. So Pittsburgh doesn't dominate him, but they have had a slight upper hand against him. So I worry about Wu a bit in this matchup here. Braxton Ashcraft is pitching for Pittsburgh. He's good. I think he's under the radar here still. I gave out an under, I think, in his last... Or no, I gave out Pittsburgh, I think, in his last game, and I think they won, right? That was at the A's, if I remember correctly. Ashcraft has been good. 3.18 ERA, 1.1 whip. Not that much worse at home. 3.4 home ERA. It is slightly worse, but not bad. He's been good over his last few outings. Yeah, that last one was at the A's Stadium, which is not an easy place to pitch. And he did pretty well there. Got us a win in that game. He got a win in the game. He's been good overall. Pretty high strikeout rate, low hit rate, low walk rate. Everything looks pretty good here from Ashcraft. And the Mariners do not have good numbers off him. Only an 8 at-bats, though. They have, I think, 7 hitters who have faced him in their current lineup. 2 strikeouts, no walks, 250 average, 500 OPS. So I think Pittsburgh might be the way to look here, but I would go first 5 only. It looks like it's a bounce-back spot for Pittsburgh here. We're going to have to re-handicap the White Sox game here, but well, not really. I'm still going to give out that play, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. This game, I like Pittsburgh here. The money is agreeing, but I would only go first 5. Pittsburgh, you're probably going to have to pay a little bit more for that, though, because the odds makers know Pittsburgh's bullpen is something that is not good and you want to avoid. We have 58% of the tickets on Seattle, 79% of the cash on Pittsburgh. So the money agrees with Pittsburgh here. I think it is a bounce-back spot. I like Ashcraft to get it done. I like him to outpitch Wu here. Minus 118 is what Pittsburgh is on the full game. You're probably looking at minus 130 or something on the first 5, but that's the way I would play the game is money line Pittsburgh first 5. The total is also still low. I mean, it has to be low with this pitching matchup. Total's at 7.5 here. I don't trust Pittsburgh's bullpen, though. I still don't trust Wu, so I don't think I would want to do it, but I still wouldn't disagree with the under, though. I still think an under is still probably the way to look at that game, even though I know I just said I like a favorite in the first 5. And if it's going to be a low-scoring game, you don't necessarily want to be on a favorite, so I'm skipping the game, but I have too many concerns about it. But 71% of tickets, 66% of the cash on the over. Under makes sense to me, but I think I would go under first 5. I just can't trust Pittsburgh's bullpen. I know you're going to be looking at it like a 3.5, maybe even 3. I would try to find the under 3.5 in the first 5 if I was going to do it that way, though. All right, Philadelphia and Washington. Oh, wait, no. I have to handicap this pitching change here for the White Sox, but here's what I think the White Sox are doing. They've listed Chris Murphy, I think is his name, as the starter here. He's going to be an opener, and I think Fedde is still going to pitch here. But even if that's not the case, if it's a White Sox bullpen game, whatever, I'm still keeping the Indians as a play here, man. The price hasn't changed, so I think the odds makers don't expect this to really affect the game here. Murphy, I think it's like a long relief, man. Let me check this out here. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think he's that good either. Yeah, Murphy's numbers are atrocious too, so him being in there for an inning, I think probably helps our cause, even though he's actually been better at home, but I don't want to dig too much into this. Murphy, he's probably going to go an inning, and then they're going to go to Fetty after that. That would be my guess. So I would play, so I'm going to change one thing about this. I'm going to say that when you play this game, specify Bibee must start and don't specify a White Sox pitcher. That's what I would do, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be either Fetty or Fetty coming in after an opener. The White Sox are going to do one of those two things. I don't want to try to figure out which thing they're going to do, although it looks like it is going to be an opener now. But I would specify Bibee must start and don't specify the White Sox pitcher. So that's what I'm going to go with. That's how I'm going to grade this play here. All right, and I have to go back and make sure that all the starters listed yesterday actually pitched in the games that I gave out. The A's one definitely was the case. I don't know. I forget who was pitching in the other games I gave out yesterday. Also, Miami wasn't on my card, and I did like that one too. Yeah, we did have the right pitching matchup in Pittsburgh or whatever that game, and then I think the White Sox one was still the same too. Yeah, so yes, all of those bets counted. All right. I'll usually go back and just make sure, because I was out. I was at the Strokes concert last night, so I wasn't totally paying attention to what was going on. Philadelphia at Washington here. This game, just on the surface, this game looks like an over game to me with this pitching matchup here. Nola against Mikolas. Washington at home, I mean, generally, it makes sense to play overs in Washington home games. Their pitching is bad at home, and their offense is, even though their offense is better on the road, their offense is still good either way. Yesterday's game went way over the total, 14-9, ridiculous. The first game of the series went under, though, but that was a Zach Wheeler game, I'm pretty sure, and this is not a Zach Wheeler game today. So this game, yeah, over probably makes the most sense here. Washington's bullpen is not good. And when you had an over in the previous game, a lot of times I think, like, for me being a contrarian, I kind of want to fade what we last saw. But in baseball, when you get an over, I don't really like to fade the over necessarily in the next game, because what happens is the bullpens get totally shredded when you have an over game. So a lot of times that dominoes into the next game. You can see here, Washington's bullpen is in bad shape. They used 6 relief pitchers yesterday, and their bullpen sucks, so that's not good. Philadelphia used 3. Philadelphia has the better bullpen here. Washington, number 25 in bullpen, one of the worst bullpen ERAs, 3rd worst, I believe, not good. 4th worst, actually. The A's are worse right now. Philadelphia, number 12 in bullpen. Their bullpen is okay. Offensively, Washington is the better team. Number 3, tied with the A's right now. Philadelphia, number 23, although they're starting to hit a little bit better right now. They did explode in yesterday's game. Aaron Nola pitching for Philly, like I said. He's generally been bad since he's tried to come back from his Tommy John or whatever. It has not worked out for him. I thought he was going to bounce back because he's still not really that old, but it has not gone well. 5.71 ERA, 1.48 whip this season. Not good. Only slightly better on the road. 5.62 road ERA. He's been a little bit better recently, though. His last start was pretty good, but it was against the Mets, so that's not a good offense. So he's pitched well against some weak offenses here like San Diego and the Mets, but when he stepped up to face like the White Sox, Milwaukee, he was nowhere near as good. So that's not a good sign because he's facing a good offense here, Washington. His numbers in his career are mediocre against Washington, 136 career at-bats. They do have a high average against him, 287. OPS is below that 750 threshold, so they haven't really hit him for power, 733 OPS. And he does have a good strikeout walk ratio against them, 37-6. That's really good. But still, I don't trust Nola in his current form against this offense that has seen a lot of him and has decent numbers against him. I think he could give up some runs here, and obviously I think Mikolas could give up some runs too because he's not good. Although his ERA actually makes him look worse than he actually is right now, even though I think he's potentially, like, I've been pretty much calling him one of the worst pitchers in baseball over the last couple of years, but his whip is actually not that bad at 1.28. His ERA, 5.47. His whip does indicate that his ERA should be a little bit better than that, but He sucks at home, 6.37 home ERA, really bad. He's actually been okay over his last couple starts. He gave up 5 runs against Tampa Bay, but lasted pretty deep into the outing. Hasn't put many guys on base via the walk recently, so he's actually pitching all right, like I said, but he doesn't strike anybody out. His hit rate is still kind of high on the season. His walk rate is low, so he doesn't walk guys, but his strikeout rate is really low, and he gives up a lot of home runs. So basically, he just pitches to contact, and he gives up a lot of home runs, so that's not good. His numbers against the Phillies are better than you might think, in 164 at-bats. So they've seen a lot of them, though. 262 average, 713 OPS. So he actually does have the slight upper hand against Phillies offense here. I still would not trust him, though, at home against an offense that is really familiar with him. And his numbers are not exactly excellent against them. 29-7 strikeout walk ratio, though, is way better than you usually get out of him. So I still think an over makes sense, but, you know, I wanted the matchup numbers to be worse for both of these pitchers here, because then I would probably be adding it to my card. The money is still agreeing with me here with 50-50 on the tickets, 77% of the cash on the over. Total is high. It's high for a reason, 9.5. I still think over is the way to play this game. Philadelphia is favored at like minus 130 something. 77% of tickets, 84% of the cash on Philly. So it looks like they're getting some of the money here. I think this series is continuing tomorrow, too, after these teams are 1-1 in the series right now. Both teams probably show up because it is a divisional matchup, whatever. Favoring Nola on the road like that just seems kind of insane to me, even though I know the White Sox are actually really bad, or excuse me, the Nationals, are really bad at home. You know, Nola, throughout his career, he's been the better pitcher than Mikolas. There's no question about that, but he hasn't really shown any signs of being that guy anymore, so over is the way I would play that game. I don't really have a great opinion on the side, though, because I would not really want to back Washington either. If you back Washington, you should just go first 5 with it, but I don't know that it really makes that much sense. And I don't think Mikolas has that big of an advantage, if he has any. Nola, he started looking good at the end of last year, but this year he's fallen back again, so it's not good. Houston at Toronto here. And then I think I'll take a break because I did already talk about the second game of the Cubs-Mets doubleheader, and then I'll come back and finish it off. We have a lot of World Cup stuff to talk about today. 6 matches, and I'm giving out a play that's a total motivational angle. Houston and Toronto here. This looks like a complete pitching mismatch on the surface here. Toronto has the way better starting pitcher on the mound with Savage against Burrows here. Houston, their bullpen got used the last couple of days. 5 relief pitchers got used yesterday. I do not want to trust their bullpen here. You could tell just by looking at the bullpen usage that yesterday's game must have been an extra inning game, and I believe it was. Yes, it was. They went 11 innings yesterday, and Houston won the game. These two teams are continuing this series tomorrow. No, they're not. My mistake. This is the last game of the series, even though this is a night game. Houston, I think, actually, Houston has to travel and play Detroit tomorrow, so that's kind of interesting, although it's only from Toronto to Detroit, so it's a short travel leg there, and Toronto stays at home and plays tomorrow as well. But this is the rubber match of the series. Both teams have won 1 game in the series, I'm pretty sure. Both bullpens are very taxed right now. Toronto used 6 guys as well. I would not want to deal with either bullpen here, although Toronto has an okay bullpen at number 13. Houston was pitching better out of the bullpen recently, but I still don't trust them. They still have bad overall numbers, number 21 overall, even though I know I factored them into an under the other day, and it worked out. That was game 1 of this series, but the starting pitching definitely helped us out, obviously, in that one. But I thought that the pitching setup for the bullpens was still decent in that one. It is not decent here, so I would not want to deal with those bullpens. Houston is the better offense here. They are number 11, I think. Where are they at? No, they're tied in 9th with Minnesota, and Toronto has not been great. They're tied in 21st with Texas. So Houston does have an offensive edge in this game here. As I keep going to the wrong tab, Mike Burrows pitching for Houston. He has not been good at all. After they picked him up from Pittsburgh, 5.79 ERA, 1.58 WHIP. These are not good numbers. He is better on the road, though. 4.68 road ERA. So he's been, I don't know if I want to say serviceable, but he's been better on the road, although still not great. He made a relief appearance, I think, in his last outing. I don't know what they were doing, but I guess they figured, well, he's struggling as a starter, so let's give him a different type of pitching appearance here. Let him do something different. I don't know what that was, but I'm pretty sure it was a relief appearance. He had one scoreless inning against Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland's offense is bad, but Toronto's offense is not that much better. So he might actually be able to do okay against Toronto. Only Jesus Sanchez has ever faced him. He's 0 for 1 off him with a strikeout. So Burrows is unfamiliar to Toronto, so maybe that gives him a little bit of an advantage here, but I still don't trust him, man. Against Trey Savage is obviously the better pitcher. He's more established already, even though he's only 22. He already has World Series pitching experience, and he's got a 3.76 ERA this year, 1.16 whip. Strong numbers here. He's not good at home, though, 5.4 home ERA, so he's been significantly worse at home this year. However, I will point out that his opponent batting average at home is 224, so that ERA is kind of misleading. He is still pitching fairly well at home. It's just that I think he got a little bit unlucky here. He's better than that number would suggest. It was a game where he kind of got lit up against the Yankees here. He did give up 6 walks in that outing, though he actually got beat up by the Orioles in the previous start. But if you look at the numbers in that start, that was a much better start than the way it appeared. And so was his other home start against Miami, where he gave up some runs. He got unlucky in both of those. The only really bad start that he had was the walk-heavy start against the Yankees here, which is interesting because he actually has dominated the Yankees in his career, but the Yankees had just seen him a couple weeks prior to that, and the Yankees must have adjusted because he did not do well. His overall numbers here, really low hit rate, so that's pretty good. Strikeout rate is all right, but his walk number is too high on the season, so that is something that you do have to worry about, that his walk number is an issue. He did walk 7 guys, actually, in one of his other starts against Baltimore, where he allowed only 1 run, but that's still, to me, that still is a red flag that he had so many walks there. But his last start was pretty good against the Red Sox. Didn't walk anybody in that one. Although the Red Sox are a pretty putrid offense. Houston's offense is better than that, but Houston has never faced a Savage before. So I think he does have an advantage here. I think Toronto is the way to look at this game. I think I would just exclude the bullpens, though. Even though Toronto might have the better bullpen, I would not want to deal with either bullpen. I think laying a half run or something with Toronto in the first 5 here makes the most sense, but Toronto's minus 150 something for the full game, so you're probably looking at a very high price tag on the first 5 because the odds makers know Toronto's best advantage here is with the starting pitching. But I still think that's probably the way to go, is to lay a half run in the first 5 with Toronto here. You might have to lay about minus 130 something with that, though. I haven't looked at the price, but it's probably something like that. 81% of tickets, 88% of the cash on Toronto. So the money seems to agree with me a bit there, although they seem like a public side too. All right, I'm going to be right back. I already talked about the 2 doubleheader games here, with the second game between the White Sox and the Cubs. Sorry, Chicago. The Cubs and the Mets. The Yankees, no, the Mets. That's a very difficult game to handicap. By the way, speaking of the Mets, the Strokes, who I saw last night, they did play Ode to the Mets in the middle of the set there, which is like a ballad from their previous album or whatever, and everybody puts up the phone flashlights and whatever. That song is hilarious. It's a decent song, but it's hilarious to me because the song is basically about like having relationships that go on too long, and like you let these like toxic situations and relationships last too long, and it's just, it all becomes bad. But then Julian, I guess he's a Mets fan and not a Yankees fan. He decided to title the song Ode to the Mets just as kind of a joke about how you could take this to, like, basically this describes your relationship with the Mets as a Mets fan, even though that's not actually what the song is about, but it could be. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny that's how that's the name of the song. It's just pretty funny. All right, I'm going to be right back. Then I'll finish this show off here. I'll finish you guys all off in the comment section. All right, we're back. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention in that Philadelphia-Washington game yesterday, Philadelphia won 14-9, but Philadelphia, I think, scored like 8 runs in the 9th inning of that game. Washington was winning that game by a decent margin for most of the game, and their bullpen is that bad. Their bullpen totally imploded, so something of interest maybe there. Like maybe I guess Washington could be a little bit hungover coming into that game because of the way they lost the game yesterday. But I don't know. They'll probably still get up for the game against Philly, though. We'll see. I also see all the NBA draft talk going on right now. I didn't even realize the NBA draft first round or whatever was last night. So I know Dbacks from BYU was picked first by Washington. He's a really good offensive player, but he's a defensive liability, man. The news stations around here are talking about it because he's from Massachusetts, so Brockton, of course. But yeah, the Giannis trade, I don't think I commented on that yesterday, but I commented on it the day prior to that, I think. I said that I did not want the Celtics to get him because they were going to give up too much for him. And it was looking like they were going to give up Jaylen Brown, Hugo Gonzalez, and 2 or 3 first-round draft picks. So I'm kind of glad the Celtics did not do that. So, the Heat fans are all talking shit right now, but I'm not sure how improved the Heat are really going to be. Especially early on, you might want to fade the Heat early this upcoming season because the chemistry might not be there yet. And Giannis just gets hurt all the time, so whatever. Just keep building this Celtic team, man. I don't know much about the Celtics draft pick that they had, by the way, towards the end of the first round. They took somebody from University of Houston who seems like kind of a bigger dude. Like Houston is a good like fundamental and defensive team though, so that's probably what they're looking for there, like a physical paint presence. I think that's the type of guy the Celtics just drafted, but whatever. Defense in the NBA. I think it matters somewhat because, I don't know, the 2 teams that made the finals were 2 of the better defensive teams in the NBA, and the Thunder were one of the better defenses too, and they made the conference finals and probably should have made the finals. It matters somewhat. All right, Milwaukee and Cincinnati here. I was pretty shocked that yesterday's game was a 2-0 final. I mean, you got Cincinnati, hitter-friendly ballpark. That game sort of read as an over game to me. There was also a reason I didn't want to play it because I thought that both pitchers were at least capable of doing a little bit better than you would think. Yeah, very, very strange, though. This has been a very low-scoring series. 2 games, and we've only seen 5 total runs scored. Ridiculous. Does that mean the offenses explode in this game? I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. Cincinnati is trying to avoid a sweep here. So this spot for Milwaukee actually doesn't look that good because Milwaukee has already won the series, and they might be looking ahead because I believe they're facing the Cubs next. The Cubs play tomorrow. The Cubs play tomorrow. The Brewers, they're playing the Mets still. The Brewers are off, but I think on Friday, a weekend series begins between the Brewers and the Cubs. So I think the Brewers could be looking ahead here to that series. That's going to be a big series between the 2 teams, so I think are the best teams in this division. So I think Cincinnati has a little bit of a motivational and focus edge here, perhaps, but I don't really like the starting pitching matchup for them. Cincinnati, I also don't like their bullpen. They used 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Milwaukee used 3. Milwaukee has the better bullpen. They're number 10 right now. Their ERA is pretty strong. Reds are a bad bullpen. They're number 28. They're one of the bottom handful of bullpens. So we have a bullpen edge for the Brewers here. Brewers also have the better offense here. The Brewers are ranked 13th right now, tied with the White Sox. The Reds, without Ellie De La Cruz and whatever, they've been really struggling offensively. They're at 25th right now. Really bad. They're going up against Shane Drohan, who he still doesn't have his picture on ESPN either. He's been all right. 3.4 ERA, 1.17 whip here for Milwaukee. Not as good on the road, 4.3 road ERA. So maybe he struggles a little bit more here. He's been effective. I mean, his strikeout rate is actually somewhat high. His walk rate is reasonable. Hit rate fairly low as well. So his overall numbers are actually pretty good here. A lot of it's out of the bullpen, but since he's joined the starting rotation, he's been pretty effective there too. So I don't know what to make of that. Like, I don't really know much about him. Like, you wouldn't expect like a 27-year-old converted reliever to be this good, but he's been effective nonetheless, and Cincinnati's never faced him before, so he does have that advantage here too, so they might struggle to figure him out early on, so I think he might pitch all right here. And I don't really like Rhett Lauder, who's pitching for Cincinnati, even though the situation looks good for Cincinnati. I don't want to back this guy. He's just not good enough right now. 4.82 ERA, 1.45 whip. Those are not good numbers. He's still young. He's 24. He might be able to turn this thing around, but I don't know, man. He is better at home, 3.22 home ERA, so he is in the better of his home road splits here. So that's good at least, but his walk numbers have been really bad, and that definitely worries me here. That's really the main issue here. His strikeout rate's a bit low, too, so he's not really a strikeout pitcher. His hit rate is fine, but his walk rate is definitely too high, so he's got to do something about that. Like, he doesn't have the strikeout stuff to, to kind of negate walking too many guys. He's not Dylan Cease here. His numbers against Milwaukee are pretty good, though. They only have whatever this is, 6 hitters who have faced him before. They're only 1 for 8 off him. Frelick is the only hit. Frelick, however you pronounce his name. He has a single. That's the only hit off him. 3 strikeouts, 4 walks. So, again, too many walks here. 125 batting average, 542 OPS allowed. Lauder is at least in the better of his home road splits. He at least draws maybe a decent matchup here, even though Milwaukee is not, they're not an offense that you should really fuck with, but Milwaukee also, they're not a good power hitting offense though, so they might not be able to take advantage of this stadium, which may be part of the reason why this series has been so low scoring. I believe the money is actually backing Cincinnati here. No, it's not. It was earlier. Milwaukee has 77% of tickets, 83% of the cash on them. They're pretty heavily priced at around minus 146 here. Maybe too much of a price to lay with Milwaukee here, with kind of an unproven pitcher here in a spot that I don't think is really good for Milwaukee. I could see the argument for Cincinnati here. If you're gonna try Cincinnati here, I would not want to include their bullpen though. I would just take Cincinnati first 5 at an underdog price and maybe take the shot with that and hope you get some value there with the motivation. Possible that both pitchers do all right, and maybe that helps the case for the home underdog there, which does seem like maybe there is a case for a first 5 under here too, but the money is backing the over in the full game, and the total's 9.5 because it's a Cincinnati home game with some unproven starters here. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it. I don't know. Maybe the better approach is Cincinnati first 5. I don't want to deal with that though. Speaking of unders, this next game, of course, my first reaction to this next game, Dodgers, Minnesota, I was like, under, because this is Ohtani versus Ryan. This is a really good starting pitching matchup here. But I'm also going to skip this game. I have one more play to give out, and this is not it. And I forget what it is, actually. Oh, no, I know what it is. I haven't gotten to it yet. Minnesota has a much worse bullpen here. The Dodgers used 2 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Minnesota used 3. Dodgers are clearly the better bullpen. Minnesota might have the worst bullpen in baseball. Minnesota is also potentially going to get swept out of the series here. The Dodgers have won the first 2 games here. Maybe that means the Dodgers are going to overlook Minnesota, though, because this is the end of the series, and the Dodgers play San Diego next, which is going to be a bigger deal for San Diego because the Dodgers have a big lead on them in the division right now. But maybe it's a look ahead for the Dodgers because that's still a division rival. The Dodgers have already won this series, so maybe they don't go all out here for this last game against Minnesota, but I'm not going to jump out of my seat to fade Ohtani here, though, even if he has been a little bit worse recently. The Twins' bullpen is awful. They're dead last in ERA and in whip, and it's kind of significant at this point. This is a terrible bullpen. Dodgers are number 5, although their ERA is a little bit worse than that, so they're probably not quite that good, but they're the better bullpen. The Dodgers are the number 1 offense. Minnesota's tied in 9th. I'm not sure that Minnesota's offense is really that good either. So Dodgers are obviously the better team. Dodgers are obviously going to be a big favorite here. But Joe Ryan, you're not going to get Joe Ryan as a huge underdog like this very often, if ever. Ohtani, like I said, is pitching for the Dodgers. He's obviously pitching well. 1.47 ERA, 0.88 whip. He's been even better on the road. 1.23 road ERA. Struggled a little bit in his last 2 starts, struggling for him. He still had 11 strikeouts and 4 walks there, which is not horrible. Gave up 4 runs against Tampa Bay, but got a little bit unlucky there because his command numbers were still pretty good. So I'm not really looking to fade him here. He's got a really low hit rate. Walk rate is pretty decent as well. Not as good as you would think, though. And his strikeout rate is pretty high. Against the Twins, they don't have much experience against it. They have 5 hitters who have faced him, 12 at-bats. Buxton doesn't have a home run off him. They have 4 strikeouts, no walks, 167 average, 583 OPS. So I think Ohtani should pitch well here. More often than not, that's going to be correct, obviously. Also, the Twins are pretty inexperienced against him, so that might be a little bit of an advantage to him as well. Joe Ryan is pitching for Minnesota. He is good, though. 2.99 ERA, 1 whip, 2.85 ERA at home, so he's been a little bit better at home. He's been pitching well recently, has a 29-4 strikeout walk ratio this month, so that's a really good ratio there in 23 innings. He's allowed 23 hits, though, so that's a little bit more than you usually expect out of him. He does have a low hit rate on the season, low walk rate, too. His strikeout rate is also high, so his numbers across the board are pretty good. He's still pitching well right now as far as I'm concerned. The problem is he does not have good numbers against LA. They have a 250 average, but they do have an 879 OPS off him and 24 at-bats, so they have been able to hit for some power against him. They have 6 strikeouts, 5 walks against him, although 4 of the walks are Kyle Tucker, who also has one of the home runs off him. Do I actually think Ryan is going to pitch poorly here? No, not really. I still think this is probably an under. I'm going to stay off it, but the money looks like it's backing the over. 69% of tickets on the over, 88% of the cash on the over. Totals at 8. I think first 5 under is the way to go here. And I think because Minnesota's bullpen is so bad, it's skewing the total a little bit higher in this game. And because the Dodgers' offense is good, and they're really good on the road. I worry about Ryan a little bit with those matchup numbers, but I still think a first 5 under is probably the way to look at this game. I think it should be a pitching duel. Dodgers are very heavily priced, like I said, around minus 180, mid 170s here. 87% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them. The Dodgers probably do get it done for the full game. I think they do have the starting pitching edge. They clearly have the bullpen edge. I just don't think you can lay a price like that. You can knock it down a little bit by getting the Dodgers on the run line. I still don't know if I would want to do that, though. And there is some argument for a Minnesota first 5 here. Like, Ryan might be able to duel Ohtani here, and maybe it's close. So maybe first 5, Minnesota plus a half run or something in the first 5 on the spread. Could make some sense there, but that's not going to be anything I'm going to deal with. Arizona and St. Louis, as this show is taking forever, as usual. St. Louis lost yesterday, so both teams have a 1-run win in what's been a low-scoring series, which you might not expect between these 2 teams. But St. Louis is the more pitcher-friendly ballpark out of the 2, though. So do with that info what you want, I guess. But both games have been low-scoring. Both teams have a 1-run win in the series. St. Louis used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Arizona used 4. Arizona's bullpen is kind of struggling here at this point. They're number 9. I have been saying they're not as good as their whip suggests. They're kind of falling off a little bit. I don't love this bullpen. I don't like St. Louis's that much either. They're at 19th. I think we have a couple of mediocre bullpens here. Don't really love them. St. Louis has been the better offense. They're number 12. Arizona, 27th. Arizona really struggling on offense recently. Arizona's going with Mitch Bratt here, and I think Bratt, yes, he's one of those dolls, the Bratt doll. He's making his major league debut, I'm pretty sure here. He's a 22-year-old lefty. He's kind of on the smaller side at 190, 6'1". I looked at his numbers. He's not a guy with high velocity, which kind of makes sense given what his size is. He throws like low to mid 90s fastball, but he does have a deep pitch arsenal. He's got slider, curve, change, and cutter, I think is what he throws. And I guess he has a decent mix there. I guess some of his breaking stuff is pretty good. Do with that info what you want. His numbers in the minors are actually pretty good. I looked at his numbers in AAA. this year, it's pretty good. Like, his ERA is in the 2s. His whip is below 1. I'm pretty sure in the minors. His strikeout rate's not that good, but the rest of his numbers look good in the minors. So he's more of a location and location pitcher that relies on off-speed stuff. Could he pitch well here? Yeah, he definitely could. In a more pitcher-friendly park here. St. Louis will have never seen him before, of course, so that might be a little bit of an extra edge. He's already got his mug shot up here on ESPN, so ESPN's on the ball with him here, so that might mean he's a decent prospect. I think Arizona considers him to be like their 5th best pitching prospect in the organization right now or something, but he might pitch all right here, man. It's a bit of a question mark there, but I might lean towards him pitching well here. Matthew Liberatore is pitching for the Cardinals. Don't think he's very good. 5.23 ERA, 1.56 whip is really bad. He is a little bit better at home, 4.58 home ERA, although that's still not excellent. He was really bad in his last outing against Kansas City. I gave out a winner on the show on that one with the Kansas City first 5. Cameron wasn't great in the game, but Liberatore was awful. So we got that done. Liberatore has been terrible in every start this month. He's allowed more runs than innings pitched. Just awful stuff. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. Not in good form right now. His hit rate is way too high. He's allowed a lot of home runs. His walk rate is also high. His strikeout rate is not really that good either. Arizona also has had the upper hand offensively against him with a 357 average, 786 OPS. They haven't had much power against him, but only in 14 at-bats, 5 hitters have faced him. Only 1 extra base hit, double from Marte. But even so, I don't think Liberatore is going to really have a great time here. 2 strikeouts, no walks there in that matchup, but still... I like Arizona here probably. Don't really love their bullpen, though, so maybe Arizona first 5 makes the most sense here. There could be a reason here, back the guy in his major league debut when nobody knows who he is yet. We pretty much know Liberatore is probably going to suck. But maybe that being the case, maybe Arizona over their team total is what makes the most sense here. St. Louis is at minus 116 or so here on the price. So you're getting Arizona as a little bit of an underdog here, and you probably will get them as an underdog in the first 5 too, although maybe not. It might be close. The full game total's 9, 52% of tickets, 84% of the cash on the over. But yeah, I think to take maybe the question mark of Bratt out of the equation, Arizona to go over their team total might make sense here. Even though their offense has struggled, I think they should get something done against the St. Louis pitching situation for once. So maybe that's what makes the most sense. You'll probably get a reasonable number on that. You'll probably only need them to score 4 runs maybe. So that seems somewhat reasonable there. Atlanta at San Diego, although I know their offense has struggled. Speaking of struggling offenses, San Diego, although San Diego broke out yesterday as Garrett was lamenting. It was an extra inning game, though, right? San Diego won the game 7-6 yesterday. They have 2 one-run wins in this series. Atlanta's probably not going to overlook San Diego at this point, man. Atlanta probably wants to avoid the sweep here. And San Diego, like I told you, they do have the Dodgers next. So San Diego might be looking ahead to the Dodgers because this is the last game of this particular series here. Atlanta probably will be the more motivated team, although San Diego might still get up for this game because it is Atlanta, and it would be crazy if they swept them, so they might still not overlook them, but they do have the Dodgers next, so there is the potential look ahead there. San Diego's bullpen ran out yesterday, man. They use everybody, so their bullpen it's a good bullpen, but they're not in good shape right now. They use 6 guys out of the bullpen. Atlanta only used 3, and they have somewhat of a deeper bullpen and actually a better bullpen. So Atlanta's bullpen sets up better here, and they're the number 1 bullpen. San Diego's number 6, and I think they're really the number 2 bullpen, which is where they are in ERA. But their bullpen is definitely at a rest disadvantage, so Atlanta does have a bullpen advantage here for sure. Atlanta is the better offense as well. They've fallen off a little bit. They're at number 7. San Diego is still dead last, 30th. Really bad. Atlanta's going with Martin Perez, who is continuing to pitch well. 2.78 ERA, 1.07 whip. I mean, again, I know he's an aging, kind of a junk pitcher, control pitcher, but he's pitching well. Got to give him credit for that. He hasn't been as good on the road, though. 3.86 road ERA. But he pitched pretty well again last time out against Milwaukee. Yeah, I mean, not a lot to really dislike here out of what he's done. He's allowed more than 2 earned runs only twice this season, more than 2 earned runs 3 times, excuse me. No more than 4 in any of his outings, and more than 3 only twice. He's allowed a very low hit rate here. His walk rate's a little bit too high. Strikeout rate is not high, but obviously he's not a strikeout pitcher. Could he pitch well here? Yeah, of course, because he's having a good season, and this is going to be one of the best matchups for him, I think, given that this is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, and San Diego's offense has been awful. And he does have pretty good numbers against them in 67 at-bats. Only 5 of their hitters have faced him, but obviously it's the veteran hitters that have all faced him before, and only Manny Machado has really hit him well. Nobody else has. They have 10 strikeouts, 9 walks against him, so the walk number is high, but Machado has 5 of those. So he might be able to just pitch around him. But overall, he's held them to a 209 average, 586 OPS. So I do think Perez looks like he should continue to pitch well here. San Diego's going to go with JP Sears, who I think hasn't pitched for a while. Actually, he hasn't pitched this season yet. He's had a weird career. He started out with the Yankees. He looked pretty good with Oakland for 1+ seasons, kind of. But then he started struggling. But, of course, you know, last year he kind of struggled because the A's stadium is awful. So you got to give him a little bit of a pass for that. But I don't know why, but he pitched really poorly for San Diego after that. And you got to think that going from pitching in the A's stadium that they've had the last couple of seasons to going to San Diego, that should that should improve your numbers like a lot. And it didn't. For him, he was pitching worse. So I don't know what to make about that. His overall career numbers are kind of mediocre, so I think that is what he is. He's a mediocre pitcher. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about that, but he's making his season debut here. Atlanta has obviously seen him before because he's been around for a while. 67 at-bats against him, 209 average, 575 OPS, 10-2 strikeout walk ratio. So Sears has actually done well against Atlanta in his history, so he might be able to actually pitch all right here. I do lean Atlanta here. I think Perez is probably the more trustworthy starter, which kind of sounds a little crazy, but I think that might be the case. Where are we looking here? Where is this game? There it is, National League. 81% of tickets, 89% of the cash on Atlanta. You're laying a bit of a price here at minus 130 or so here, but I think they might have the starting pitching edge. They should have the motivational edge, and they have a bullpen edge here too. So Atlanta probably does have at least a slight advantage throughout this game. And there's a reason they're favored on the road as well, though it almost looks too easy to play Atlanta, though, at kind of a low price there. I wouldn't really disagree with the first 5 under here either. I don't really love the bullpen situation really for San Diego because they just used way too many guys yesterday. Because normally I would say full game under might make sense. Money is hitting the over, though. 75% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the over. Totals around 8, but it's a pitcher-friendly park, you know. I mean, one offense that really struggles here, San Diego. Good matchup numbers from these pitchers here for the most part, so first 5 under makes some sense to me in that game. And then finally, we have my other baseball plays in this last game. You know what it is. I'm just going to keep doing it because it keeps working. We're going to back Gage Jump again here. We're going to go right back with the A's again here, even though they didn't get there for us yesterday. We get a better pitching matchup this time, so we're going to take the A's first 5. I know it's a little bit juicy at minus 135 or so. If you want to get the price down, you could lay the half run, but I'm just going to go with the money line. And then, of course, with the half run, you need them to be leading after 5, but with the money line, if it's tied, you'll push your bet, so that's why you have to pay more for it. I think I like this, though. I mean, San Francisco did catch us yesterday. I'm just shocked that the A's didn't put up more offense there. I don't know what that was. I thought it was a really bad spot for San Francisco, returning to the West Coast. The A's are already on the West Coast in the general area, so it was a way better travel spot for the A's. I don't know what that was. But I think we can back the A's here. We back Gage Jump 3 starts in a row, and we've won every single one of those plays, I'm pretty sure. The A's used 3 relief pitchers yesterday, but I'm counting the A's bullpen out here. I don't want to deal with this bullpen. They're not good. San Francisco is a very rested bullpen here. They've literally only used 1 relief pitcher in the last 3 days, according to this. Maybe that's inaccurate. I think they did have one of those days off, though. They were off on Monday, yeah, for sure. So They do have a rested bullpen here, and they do have the better bullpen, even though San Francisco's ranked 24th. The A's are 23rd, but San Francisco's ERA is better than all these teams around them. They're a better bullpen. At least if you look at what they did last year, they're the better bullpen here. So we'll factor the A's bullpen out of this equation. The A's have the better offense, number 3, so hopefully we can take advantage of that here. The Giants are number 11 or something here. Where are they at? Yeah, but I don't think they're that good. We've seen in this series the Giants' offense has completely dropped off again. This is a pitcher-friendly ballpark. The Giants' offense is not good at home. They had a couple of fluky offensive showings, but they're not a good offense. And they're going up against Gage Jump here, who he's been really good, dude. 2.37 ERA, 0.99 whip, and I know offenses might start figuring him out eventually, but his numbers look good, and we've won. The A's have won his last 4 outings. They've won every outing of his except his opener. I've given you guys a play. I think I've given out a play on 3 out of the 4 of these, I think is what this is, on Jump, and we've won all of them. I think they were all first 5 plays, too, but we won every single one of them. So I'm going to continue doing it because it keeps working. And he's got a low hit rate, a low walk rate here. His strikeout rate is okay. He's not a huge strikeout pitcher, but I think he should do all right here. It's a more pitcher-friendly environment here. He's faced some offenses that are certainly better than San Francisco's, and San Francisco has never faced him before. So I think Jump should have the jump on San Francisco here. The way he's been pitching against these offenses that are not familiar with him, he should have the upper hand here. So I like that. And we're going to fade Tyler Mahle here, who is not having a good season. 6.04 ERA, 1.54 whip. That is some really gross stuff here, although he is actually better at home, though. 3.9 home ERA, so I know he is actually significantly better at home, but his walk number has still been pretty bad, both home and away, so I don't really trust him here. He's been injured. He's missed almost an entire month here, and I know veteran pitchers coming back from injury, a lot of times they pitch better because they get pumped up to be back out there, but I don't think he's going to fare well here, man. Just his overall numbers are bad. His walk numbers are bad. He faced the A's shortly before he went down. It was in the A's stadium, I know, so it was a worse pitching environment for him, but the A's lit him up for 5 runs on 10 hits in 5 innings. And the strikeout was, the home run ball was not what did him in that game. He gave up 1. So he was just extremely hittable in that game. He didn't really walk many people in that game, so that was good, but still, he didn't do well in that start. His overall numbers here, he's allowed way too many hits. His walk number's way too high. He's allowed a lot of home runs, too, which may be a little bit better in this stadium, but still, I don't trust it. His strikeout rate is actually all right, but the rest of his numbers are awful, and you know what's coming here. His matchup numbers are not good against the A's. So obviously we know he did bad last time out at the A's stadium, but it's not just that one start. They have 35 at-bats against him, 343 average, 933 OPS. So they have definitely been able to do offensive damage against him. 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. That's a good ratio for him, but the rest of these numbers are not good. So I think we have a pretty big pitching advantage here. We're going to do it. We'll keep playing Gage Jump, man. 71% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the A's. They are favored, like I said, minus 118 on the full game. We're going to pay a little bit more to get them in the first 5, which obviously the odds makers are telling you the biggest advantage for the A's is the first 5 because their bullpen blows. But that's also why I'm going to do it here. Like, I know that is the case as well. I'll pay a little bit extra for it. We'll go A's first 5 money line there. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. A's first 5 at minus 115, really? I did not see anything even close to that. I don't know, man. Let me look. I'm going to look right now. No. I see minus 121 now, though. Minus 125 at the M book. I see minus 121 at the B book. I mean, I'll update it if you want. I mean, why not? I mean, I've not actually bet this, so yeah, why not? It's a better price on it, so all right, I'll update it to minus 121. That feels a little bit better anyway. There you go. I mean, if you have minus 115, then yeah, then I would say obviously do that if that's what they're offering, but Usually, like, it doesn't matter, like, state per state. If it's the same book, usually the number is the same, though, at that same book. So, I don't know. I see minus 125 at that book, though. But still, that's better than minus 135. So, all right. Good catch. Good looking out. Better number there. And that's it for baseball here, man. I don't think I have a whole lot else to say about anything here. We do have the Dictator is actually going to be pitching game 1 for the Cubs here. So, I forgot about him, man. I should have known it was going to be him because he hasn't pitched for a while. So if you want to look at that real quick, he's pitching in the afternoon game against Nolan McLean, Javier Assad going here. So let's take a look at his numbers really quick here. He's not even listed on their depth chart because he's not considered to be one of their actual starters. Assad has been good, though. 3.89 ERA, 1 whip. A lot of it's out of the bullpen. Hasn't been good on the road, though. He's got a 6 road ERA. Kind of a red flag in his last outing. They only had 1 strikeout against the Rockies, but since he's been in the starting rotation, he's delivered 3 pretty good starts in a row, and he's been pretty unhittable. So he's been good, but he's not that good. He's not really a strikeout pitcher. His numbers against the Mets are actually pretty solid, though, in 37 at-bats, 243 average, 678 OPS. So Assad actually matches up okay there. So that makes me like the Mets side less in that game, even though I said I kind of liked the blindly firing on the Mets in that game, and I still slightly lean to the Mets there. But now, of course, the line is switched. So like I said, you were getting the Mets as an underdog. Now you're not going to. You're going to get the Mets as actually a slight favorite here, although that seems a little weird to me. Like, why would the Cubs have been a favorite at all? Like, Assad is actually one of their better choices for a starter here. Like, why were the Cubs favored like that? If one of their better options that they could possibly go with is still gonna shift the number towards the Mets. I don't really get that, but I think a first 5 under, actually maybe a full game under makes some sense here. Actually, first 5, right? Because I think I said these teams played extra innings yesterday, right? So first 5 under, I think, makes some sense in that game. Actually, let me make sure of that. Am I right? I'm forgetting everything now. No, they did not play into extra innings yesterday. I don't know. I mean, both bullpens are all right, but I don't know. Some sort of under in that afternoon game makes some sense to me in that one. And then we do not have a pitcher listed for the Cubs in the night game still. All right. So I just noticed that, so I had to talk about it. But as far as the total in the A's and San Francisco game, the money is backing the over in that game. The total's 8. I don't really have a good gauge on the total there. Gage Jump. I don't have a jump on the gauge on that game. No, I don't know. I don't know, man. I mean, I could see an argument for maybe the A's over their team total. There could be an argument there, but we're just going to play the A's in the first 5. Yes. No, dude, I need to just do it. I need to bet more of these things. Like, I'm giving out all these plays exactly as if I was still betting them, but I have concerns about my money here, man. I should just do it because this should just be my profit mechanism at this point, but no. When I was actually betting these things, I had my actual job, my actual income to fall back on. I should just do it and stop being, a bitch and start betting actual more money on these things. Minus 115, well, that's good. I don't see it here in Massachusetts, but whatever. All right, we got to get this done, man. This is such a long fucking show. I hate it. Dude, I like talking about this, but it really, really gets, it tires me out and my sinuses get really bad and shit. All right, WNBA, I mean, it's easier to do these more situational handicaps. Phoenix at Indiana on USA Network. This is a rematch of a game that just happened where Indiana won the game 86-77. So this could be a bit of a zigzag for Phoenix here. Phoenix, I still don't think it's as bad as their record looks, even though Indiana's the better team. Indiana did win and cover barely in this first game. They covered the 7.5 in this game. The number is a little bit bigger in this game. But if we dive into this a little bit, there were some outliers here. Phoenix was bad from three-point range. They only made 5 threes, and Indiana made 10. So Indiana was plus 15 from three-point range. So that is an outlier that you could look to regress here. Indiana also had 6 more free throws made in the game, so that might regress slightly as well here. So there are some regression points here. that would kind of indicate towards Phoenix. I have some concerns, though, because Indiana, they handed Phoenix some possessions by having way too many turnovers. So Indiana might actually be able to clean that up a little bit. And Indiana dominated the rebounds by 10, so that worries me a little bit that Phoenix got completely dominated in the paint. But we could see some shooting regression here and maybe some progression from Phoenix here and regression from Indiana. So I still lean to Phoenix in tonight's game. Indiana does not really have a look ahead, though. They're playing LA next. I don't think that's that big of a deal. But yeah, I think generally the zigzag might work in this game. I do have a WNBA play. This is not it, though. The money is disagreeing on this. Indiana, 59% of the tickets, 95% of the cash on them at about -8.5, -7.5 here. I don't agree with that. I would take the points with Phoenix there. But not my strong opinion. My strong opinion is in this next game, which is not on TV, and this is a zigzag. Minnesota at Washington. This is going to be a play. I like this spot, man. We're going to lay the points with Minnesota here. The best team, even though they still don't have Collier, but I like that here because if Collier was coming back in this game, she's like one of the best players in the WNBA. And if she was coming back from Minnesota here, I would like this less because Minnesota would be probably like -12 here and you have to lay more and, they'd have to deal with the chemistry issues with her coming back. I always talk about that, the reverse injured player theory. First game that a star player comes back, sometimes they're not quite up to they're not back in like full game shape yet. You know what I mean? The team has to readjust and whatever, and you usually have to pay too much for it. So I'm glad that she's not coming back yet as far as this play here. We don't have to worry about the reverse injured player theory here. And we have a lot of situational aspects to this game that I like. Washington is returning home from a road trip that they've been on since June 14th. So they've been on an extended road trip. It was mostly on the East Coast. I know they mostly say it on the East Coast, but they did go to Minnesota, which is going to be part of my handicap as well. And they finished the road trip by upsetting the Liberty on Friday, which was a huge upset for them. The Liberty are the best team in the East, basically, and they're going to be the Cup representative. And I was correct about last night's game, too, by the way. The Liberty won against Las Vegas last night, so my opinion was right in that game, too. That was a huge upset for Washington. And then what did they do after that? They went to Minnesota and they upset Minnesota as like 14-point underdogs in that game. And now you're getting Minnesota as an 8.5-point favorite here on the road here. You might have to lay 9 now, but that still seems pretty reasonable to me. I don't think you get that much home court advantage here in the WNBA. So I think that line is a little bit short, actually, to be honest, based on that last game. But Washington's in a horrible spot for so many reasons here. It's a road trip return, so I talk about that. When a team returns home from the road, a lot of times they have to get back to home stuff to do. They could get distracted, whatever. I know you're not necessarily going to be distracted when you're playing Minnesota, but the problem with that is that Minnesota is not going to overlook Washington here because Minnesota just lost to them. So Minnesota's going to take them seriously now. And, I like when a team loses as a huge favorite. I like to play on that team in the next game because something went wrong that usually doesn't go wrong for them, and usually they make the adjustments and bounce back and they refocus. It's even better when they're playing the same team because they know exactly what happened and how to beat that team the next time. And the other thing about it is that the underdog, I like fading underdogs when they pull off a huge upset, and Washington has done that twice in a row. I think they were a double-digit dog maybe in both of those games. So Washington's in a double letdown spot here, plus the return home spot, plus this is a zigzag spot. So, yeah, a lot of things to like about Minnesota here. Minnesota, they do play Dallas next. I mean, debatably, that's kind of a big game, but they slaughtered Dallas the last time they played them. So I don't know, man. I think they'll still focus here on Washington. They're starting the road trip here. They know what Washington just did to them. So Minnesota's going to want to come out and beat them in this game. Minnesota's the way better team. And Minnesota, by the way, was winning basically this entire game. That game that they lost to Washington. Washington just somehow kind of fluked to a win at the end of the game here. Minnesota shot terribly in the game from 3. 19% from 3. You know that they're not going to do that again. They're not going to get outshot from three-point range. Again, I don't think. Washington did only hit 7, but still 4 3-pointers is just ridiculous. And even more ridiculous is that Washington went to the line 29 times to Minnesota's 14. Do you think that's going to happen again? Is Washington going to go to the free throw line more than twice as many times as Minnesota this time? Probably not. That's a major outlier. So Washington had 8 more free throws made in the game. They were +9 from three-point range, and they only won the game by 5. So that's not exactly a great sign for Washington here. I think there's going to be some regression and progression here. Minnesota, the free throws are probably going to even out. Minnesota's not going to be that bad from three-point range. Minnesota did have more possessions in the game, at least as far as the field goal attempts. They had 10 more. So that kind of indicates they were the better team in the game. They did lose the rebound battle, so I know that kind of worries me a little bit that Washington did seem to kind of dominate the game in the paint with the fact that they went to the line more. They won the rebound battle, but Minnesota is just clearly the better team, though, so I'm not going to worry about that too much here. And yes, Minnesota did win the turnover battle in that game. Both teams had quite a few turnovers in that game, but whatever. We're playing on the better team in the zigzag spot here. I know it is a little bit of a lower total here, and I don't love laying points with the lower total, but this is a spot that I don't want to pass up. I just told you how good the spot is here. 64% of the tickets, 95% of the cash on Minnesota, or how bad the spot is for Washington. It looks like you have to lay about 9.5. Now, it was 8.5 when I looked this morning, though, but I would still do it at 9.5. I still think they're going to do it. So that would be my play there. Yeah, I would still play it at that, or I would try to find maybe try to find a 9, but there's not much of a difference. Like we're talking about over the 7 is the key number in basketball. So 8, 8.5, 9. There's not a huge difference there between those points. They better just get it done though. Portland at Chicago. People are going to look at this and think, why is Chicago favored? That's going to be, if the public looks at this, how could Chicago be favored when they're 4-12? Portland's 8-9. Chicago only has 1 win at home this year. Well, Chicago has had injuries to deal with. Like, the odds makers are telling you they're actually the better team over this Portland expansion team here. And I don't know if maybe Chicago's getting some of their players back here finally. I don't know, but the odds makers are clearly telling you something by lining the team with the lesser record as a favorite here. So that does catch my eye. Chicago has lost a bunch of games in a row. They've lost 6 in a row. I do have a little bit of a concern here, not just that they're not playing well, but they're returning home from a road trip here, so that does worry me a little bit, but it was only Saturday, Monday, so that doesn't worry me as much here that it was a shorter road trip. And they just got absolutely embarrassed, dude. Like, how could you be more embarrassed than losing by almost 30 points to the worst team in the league, Connecticut? It doesn't get much more embarrassing than that. So I think you're going to get an effort out of Chicago here. They played Portland in the opener, actually. So there is, I guess, a little bit of a revenge motive for Portland here because Chicago went into Portland in the season opener and beat them in Portland. So maybe Portland will show up here too, but Chicago's not going to overlook anybody with the way they've been playing, man. I mean, that loss that they just had against Connecticut is probably the worst loss any team has had this season. You can't lose by 30 points to the worst team in the league, man. Portland is coming in off of a win over Seattle. Seattle's not a good team. Portland just beat them. They're starting a road trip, so it's not a bad spot for Portland. I have a slight lean to Chicago here just because the line looks really misleading. Like, why would they be favored like this? 3.5, but this is not a play, obviously. My only play is Minnesota. 88% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on Chicago. And then Atlanta Golden State is the most competitive of these matchups here. And at least it involves 2 good teams as far as the WNBA is concerned. And it's on TV. It's part of the USA Doubleheader and CNBC. So you can learn about economics while you can learn about finances. You can learn about how the WNBA players, how the WNBA is completely propped up by the NBA and stuff, and how the WNBA players are overpaid because nobody watches this shit. Don't cancel my channel. Golden State's coming off an ugly loss to Las Vegas. It was Las Vegas, though. They're a good team. I thought Golden State would be more competitive in that game, though, but they weren't. but they're traveling back home from just a single game in Vegas, not really a long road trip here or anything. So I think Golden State's going to show up for this, but I think Atlanta will also show up. Atlanta is starting a road trip here. Could be a difficult spot for Atlanta, though, just because you know what I always talk about, the road situation when you have an East Coast team going out west to start a road trip like this and playing a 10 p.m. Eastern game. That East Coast team could be a little bit messed up, man, by the way their biological clock is later in that game. So I don't love that for Atlanta. And that seems to be the biggest negative here that we have, even though Atlanta is coming into this game with some momentum. So I think I lean slightly to Golden State here, plus the points. You're getting 2.5 here. Not a strong opinion for me. 82% of the tickets, 88% of the cash on Atlanta, but they're going to be a bit of a public side probably. I think Golden State's still a little bit better than people think they are. These teams are probably both going to be in the playoffs. And the total's really low, by the way, 165.5. So Atlanta's a good defensive team. It's expected to be a defensive game based on that, even though the money's coming in on the over. I think an under might make some sense there. Like Atlanta's offense might be off based on the travel here and whatever. So an under makes some sense. You might see teams focusing on defense here in a game like that. So something like that. Yeah, you're gonna learn about the gender pay gap that doesn't actually exist. Don't cancel my channel. All right. Then we have World Cup. I'm giving out a World Cup play here. There's a lot to kind of take in here with the World Cup. We're now into the third matchups of the group stage. So we're now into situations where we have teams that are eliminated. We have teams that have motivation for various reasons. We have teams that have already clinched and that might not be motivated. First game is Bosnia-Herzegovina and Qatar at 3 p.m. Eastern. All these games are on Fox Sports 1, Fox 1, whatever the hell, and Universo and Telemundo. I don't know, man. Whatever. This game is in Seattle. I believe Qatar, is coming in for playing in Vancouver. And Bosnia-Herzegovina, we faded them in their last game against Switzerland, and we got an easy win with that. They played in California, I think. So these teams are both staying on the West Coast. Qatar has, I guess, a little bit of an edge in the travel, just that they're coming in just from Vancouver. But Bosnia-Herzegovina is the better team, as the odds makers are telling you. They're minus 265 on the three-way line, so they're a pretty substantial favorite here. And I think both teams actually have motivation here, because I pulled up the standings. If you look at what's going on in this group, this is Group B. Bosnia-Herzegovina and Qatar are tied in third and fourth. And the way this whole thing works is that the top 8 third-place teams, so these teams cannot, I don't believe that they can advance into the top 2 teams here, even with a win, even though they'd have 4 points. I don't think they could get into the top 2 in this group, because I don't think they have the tiebreakers, because the first tiebreaker is, what did you do against the teams that you're tied with? It's head-to-head. And I believe these teams both, they lose the tiebreaker to one of these 2 teams at least. Both teams do. So Bosnia definitely does not have the tiebreaker against Switzerland. I think did they have a draw against Canada, though? I forget. Yeah, they did. So... But then it would go to goal differential, and that's the problem. Canada is going to win the goal differential against Bosnia, so Bosnia is not going to win the tiebreaker against either one of those teams. They already lost it to Switzerland. Qatar lost it to Canada, so they don't have the tiebreaker against Canada. Their goal differential is also too low, I think, at this point, to really have a hope of tying Switzerland, because I believe Qatar had a draw against Switzerland, right? Is that what they did? Yeah, they did. So they're not going to have the tiebreaker either. So effectively, this is the third place game for this group. And if one of these teams wins, they might have enough points to be one of the top 8 third place teams. You know what I mean? It's not decided yet. So what I'm saying is both these teams are going to have motivation to win. So that's what these teams need to do here. They both need to get a win. They need to get 3 points. And if they do, they might be able to be one of the top 8 third-place teams and get into the knockout round. And whoever loses this game, if either team loses this game, then they're definitely eliminated. But yes, so both teams actually have motivation here. Bosnia probably gets it done. They're the better team. You can't really lay a price like that with them, though, I wouldn't say. And I'm not really sure that they're that good, because the only reason they're in the World Cup at all is because they upset Italy in the final game that they had to win for World Cup qualification in the tournament that lets you still qualify, and they beat Italy on penalty shots. So I don't know. Neither of these teams are that good. We'll see. I mean, in a game like this where it's going to be highly competitive, you could maybe be thinking about an under. You know what I mean? Because it seems like defenses are probably going to kind of step it up, and teams don't want to like make any mistakes. So you might see more of an under style game in a game like that. Switzerland and Canada, they're both pretty much guaranteed to be in the knockout round. So this gets a little bit interesting because the question is, do these teams care about actually being number one in the group? When you know that number 1 and 2 both make the knockout round, do you really care that you win the group or not? That's what I'm saying. Yes, Kyle, correct. You're reading my mind here. So this could be a situation where you might want to bet the draw because both teams might be okay with getting a draw because you know what that would do is it would give them both 5 points. Canada would win the group. Maybe Switzerland is okay with that, but they'd both advance and then neither of these other teams could catch them. But here's the problem that I have with that. I just told you that Canada and Switzerland are not going to lose the tiebreakers anyway. So I don't really think that they're going to do that. Like, I think they're going to try to win the group, actually. That would be my gauge on this because they're not in danger of missing the knockout round. You know what I mean? These teams have effectively clinched. Like, the tiebreaker, it's going to go to goal differential, and it's not going to matter anymore. You know what I mean? But you're right. Like, you know, the goal differential, these teams would keep their goal differential the same if they both had a draw. You know what I mean? So for that reason, you're right. Like maybe the draw makes some sense that both teams keep a positive goal differential here. You know what I mean? So they might want to do that. And under also could be worth a look here for that reason. So maybe for multiple reasons, because if both teams are going to try to win, the defenses might step up their game. But if both teams are going to kind of lay back here and not really, you know, not score as many goals here, or not really try to because they both want to just keep the goal differential and go into the knockout round, this might be an under here. I think I like that better than the draw, though, because the draw, I mean, you're looking at like plus 200 something on the draw, but of course, some crazy shit could just fuck that up. Canada is playing in Vancouver, by the way. I think they're staying in Vancouver, so I think Canada has a little bit of a location edge here. Switzerland is favored, though, even though the game is in Canada. Switzerland is plus 140 on the three-way line, so it's close. But the odds makers are telling you Switzerland is a slightly better team here. Both teams are coming up blowout wins. I don't really have a good read on the side here because I think both teams really have a very similar motivation here. They're both pretty close in the odds, so I don't really have a read on the side here, you know, other than, yeah, I mean, I think the way that I would probably play that game is the under, to be honest. I think that might be the better approach in that game, but I don't want to do it. Both teams did put up a ton of goals, so nobody's really going to want to play the under, right? Like, Switzerland had 5 goals or 4 goals or whatever in the last game. Canada, I think, had 6, so nobody's going to want to play an under here, but the under might make sense. Morocco and Haiti is in Atlanta. Haiti is going to be coming in from playing in, I think they were in Pennsylvania or something like that, and Morocco is coming in from playing in Foxborough Stadium in Massachusetts. So both teams coming down from the Northeast here. Morocco's a huge favorite at minus 525. Haiti is eliminated. So Haiti already is done. They have no points. So they actually cannot catch up because they lost to Scotland head-to-head. So even if Scotland gets no more points and Haiti somehow wins, which is not going to happen, even if Haiti does that, they still lose the tiebreaker to Scotland. So Haiti is already eliminated, and they might be the worst team. Well, I don't know if they're the worst team in this whole thing. I think Curacao probably is. Haiti is one of the worst, though, and they're already out. So Morocco, though, Morocco could potentially win this group, which is crazy to think about because they had a draw against Brazil. They could actually beat Brazil in this group here. And Morocco is in danger of falling into third place here, which they don't want. So Morocco is definitely motivated to try to win here because, you know, they don't want to fall into third, although it seems like whoever comes in third here in Group C is probably going to get in. Like, they're probably going to be one of the top 8, so we get to keep rooting for Scotland. Scotland might come back up here to Foxborough and play again against Germany if everything kind of stays the same here. That is what would happen. But yeah, Morocco, I think they probably win this thing. I don't really know if there's a way to really approach this with a bet, though, because Haiti actually might show up. Because if you think about the mindset here, it can go one of two ways. Like, you're eliminated. I talk about the Dream Crusher spot all the time. A team that gets eliminated could be in the Dream Crusher, and maybe they just will be down on themselves and they won't be motivated anymore. The problem is this is their last time they're playing in the World Cup, so they might actually try to play well. So that's the thing. I could see both things being a factor here. So I don't really know how to play on these teams that are eliminated. Like, are they going to be sad and not play well, or are they going to be highly motivated because they know this is their last chance to do something and play well, and they get a chance to play spoiler potentially? You know what I mean? Like, they might be like, fuck it, let's try to spoil this thing for Morocco and try to knock them, out of the knockout rounds or whatever, which I don't think is going to happen. I think Morocco and Scotland are both going to make it, but still. So that gives me some pause on that game. That game is really, really hard to figure out, actually. I mean, Morocco over their team total, I guess, is maybe an approach in the game. Morocco is coming off a low-scoring win over Scotland, where their offense didn't look that good. Morocco's not really a horrible team, though. Maybe they'll finally put up more goals, because they've only put up one goal in each of their matches. I know I'm not looking at the expected goals here this time, but they might be able to do something there. I don't know. I mean, is Morocco really playing well, though, or is Brazil just way overrated, though? Morocco, I don't know about Morocco, because their coach or manager left like 2 months before the World Cup started. He left, which is usually not a good sign. And some of Morocco's players that they had in that run that they made, because everybody remembers they made that run in the World Cup to the semifinals last World Cup. Some of those guys are not on that team anymore. So I don't know. But this is a really easy matchup for them against Haiti. Brazil is playing Scotland in Miami here. The Scots are all getting arrested in Miami. Dude, the Scots, they got to think that Boston is way better than Miami here. The cops in Miami, whatever, are taking the cones off of the statues. We see it as a sign of fun and respect up here. We appreciate Scotland's shenanigans, and Scotland had some guys get arrested at the Marlins game yesterday for, I don't even know what, for being too loud. I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know, but Miami is not looking good here compared to Boston here. But Scotland does have a game to play against Brazil here. Brazil, I mean, they're looking a little bit overrated here, man. I know they just beat Haiti, but Haiti sucks. Brazil is clearly better than Scotland, too, though. Brazil's minus 310 on the three-way line here. Scotland is not that good, but they've put up an okay effort here. Scotland has actually been kind of good on the defensive side, it looks like. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, they're getting into these low-scoring games here. Maybe this game could be closer than people think. It all kind of depends on whether you think Brazil is overrated or not, but both teams are motivated. Brazil still trying to win this group, and they still could potentially drop into third place here, so obviously they don't want that, but I think they're going to make the knockout round, though. Scotland looks like they're going to, although obviously it would put them in if they were able to do something here. If they're able to draw with Brazil, they're probably going to get in. If they get 1 point here, that would probably seal it for Scotland to make the knockout round here. So that is what they're going to be going for here. Both teams are going to be motivated. It's a difficult game to figure out. I don't really have a good read on this game at all. Scotland, like I said, is traveling in from Foxborough. Brazil, I forget where Brazil played their last game. That was against Haiti. I think that was in Pennsylvania, I think is what I said. Yeah, I can't get this straight, but yeah, I have that right. Philadelphia. Yeah, I don't have much on that game. The next game is my one soccer play of the day here as we hit the 2-hour mark on the show. And I got to get the show out because I talked about a noon baseball game. Although it's not one of my plays. We are going to take the Czech Republic plus a half run here at minus 115. Or you could go to the double chance market and find a win or draw. Hold on, let me see if the win draw is a better option here. Because it's the same thing. It's just a different market. You know what I mean? Like a win or draw is the same thing as plus a half goal. It's just a different market, so it depends on where you find the better number. Let me just look real quick here, because Action Network makes it more easy to find the spread options that are out there at every book than to find the double chance market. Let me see here. On the double chance, we have, I'm looking for Czech Republic. It still says Czech Republic on draft or on DK, by the way. Czech Republic or tie is at minus 120, so it's actually a better price on the plus half goal, so let's do it that way. Minus 115. I think that's also a DK number there. I like this. So you might be saying, well, why? They're playing Mexico in Mexico. Mexico is the better team here. Mexico is favored. It looks so easy to play Mexico here, though, man, at a very, very small three-way price here, and that's why I'm fading them here. Well, the reason I'm fading them is because Mexico has nothing to play for. I mean, yeah, maybe they want to not look bad in front of their home crowd or whatever, but they've already played 2 games at home already in Mexico. Mexico's already clinched. They've already won their group. They're already number 1 in Group A. They can't lose it. They already beat South Korea in their most recent match, so they already have the head-to-head against South Korea, so they can't lose the number 1 spot in this group. It's already over for them. So Mexico has basically zero motivation here. They've already clinched it. They're already moving on. Czech Republic needs this game way more because they have 1 point right now, a negative goal differential. They need something here, man, because they still have the chance to get ahead of South Korea here, man, especially if they get a win here. They're trying to do that because the third-place team here does not have a good point total here. So the third-place team in this group might miss the knockout round completely. So you really have to be focusing on trying to win this game and take second in this group if you're the Czech Republic here. So you're going to have a highly motivated Czech Republic team here against a Mexico team that really shouldn't give a shit. So this is a huge motivational disparity here. We're going to take the Czech Republic. They're also coming off an ugly performance against South Africa, who was clearly the worst team here. But look at how it happened, man. Czech Republic was winning this match, and then South Africa scored on a penalty goal at the 83-minute mark. It's such bullshit, dude. That's such a bullshit draw that South Africa pulled. Although if you look at what happened in this game, hey, Krejci, somebody named Krejci on Czech Republic here. It's not David Krejci, my former Bruin. Now, yes, I know South Africa did actually have the better expected goals here. They actually won the possession battle. That worries me that Czech Republic played really poorly. But Czech Republic did have more actual chances in the game here. South Africa was going to lose the game, dude. I mean, they only won because they got lucky being awarded a penalty goal there. So, yeah, I think Czech Republic, again, it's all about the motivation here, though, really. Yeah, I got to worry about goal differential a little bit, but whatever. Mexico already clinched with that win over South Korea. Mexico has not been scoring a lot, man. They only put up 2 goals against South Africa, 1 against South Korea, and I know that they haven't allowed a goal yet, but again, they're not putting up a ton of goals here, and as a favorite here where they're going to need to win by some sort of margin here, in a spot like this, yeah, we're going to go with the Czech Republic. That's my final play of the day there, plus the half goal. Or if you find a better price on the double chance, which is Czech Republic to win or draw, you could do that as well. And then we have South Africa and South Korea in Mexico. So actually, Czech Republic, by the way, they are actually traveling in from Atlanta. So they are at a travel disadvantage there, I know, but I'm still going to do it because I just think the motivational spot is too much to ignore there. So doing it anyway, even though, yes, they're traveling from Atlanta. Mexico is staying somewhere in Mexico. South Korea is staying in Mexico here. And South Africa is traveling in from Atlanta. And South Korea is the better team. They're at minus 155 on the 3-way here, which is not a huge price, really, though. But again, I took down the standings here, but South Korea is in a similar spot to Czech Republic. They really need to play well to try to get the number 2 spot here in this group so that they make sure to advance. So South Korea is obviously motivated here. Although, actually, let me look, because I don't know, is South Africa eliminated? I don't think they are. Let me see. No, South Africa is tied with Czech Republic here at 1 point. So South Africa, they're not actually dead yet. So South Africa is going to be motivated here as well. I expect South Korea probably to win because they are the better team, but maybe people are overlooking South Africa a little bit here. And South Africa, they are coming off that bullshit draw against the Czech Republic, though. South Korea is coming off also kind of a tough match against Mexico, though. But South Korea with the travel spot and whatever, and just the fact that they lost rather than getting a bullshit draw on their last match. South Korea probably sets up slightly better here, so I'd probably lean that way. That's going to do it, man. The plays today are the Cleveland Indians on the money line, but I said specify only Bibee must start because the White Sox are fucking with their starting pitching here. I think you're going to get Fetty still pitching in the game, but he might not start. So just pick Bibee must start for Cleveland money line and roll with whatever the White Sox are doing. We're going with Cleveland. We're going with the A's first 5 on the money line. WNBA Minnesota minus the points. I know you have to pay a little bit more for that now, 9 or 9.5. They still should get it done, I would imagine. And then World Cup Czech Republic plus the half run on the spread, or do it on the double chance market, win or draw, depending on what the better price is. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the channel here. Tell everybody about it. Let's get this thing going. Let's boost this channel. We're on audio. Listening over there helps me out. Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube. You can check that out. Patreon.com/LearnToToad if you want to support me that way. The Loser Cast, we had an episode on Monday this week. I don't know if the guys did another episode yesterday or not, but we will have an announcement about Leighton's balls. If you go watch Monday's show and you'll know what I'm talking about. We're gonna keep you guys updated on the state of his balls. So go check that out from Monday. And then the New York Giants G-Spot podcast, I guess, is still a thing. That's it for now, man. Let's have a winning day today. That's the goal, obviously. Let's get it done. I think we have to go 3-1 to do that, though. So, based on the prices and whatever, I think we're paying a little bit of a negative money line on all of them. So I think we do have to go 3-1 for it to be a win. I mean, if it's a 2-2 day and a slight loss, I'm not going to be totally beat up over it. But let's try to get the win. That's what we're trying to do here. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it, everybody. Gerald, that's right. Peace, everybody.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.